Hey everyone, it's Jonathan and welcome back to Wonderland Wednesday. For the first time in forever, I do have at least one brand new episode coming before the end of the year, but if you've been listening to the show for a while, then you know today's episode is technically a repeat. However, it's also a full re-edit, combining two older episodes back into one mega podcast, reinserting tangents and conversations that had been removed and mixed around to create two separate episodes. I haven't done a podcast re-edit in a while, and I actually thought I was done doing those, but I'm currently working on re-editing some of my older episodes into like a best-of playlist in order to launch a brand new podcast, an audio version of the Johncast. I want new listeners there to get to know me and my co-host from some of our best episodes of the past before I start releasing brand new episodes, and I thought what better way to introduce both Sarah and Jenna than our deep dive into Disney's Alice in Wonderland. I originally released this as two podcast episodes a few years ago, one on the history of the film as well as a bunch of trivia and tangents, and then one on the film itself. But for this special edition re-release, so to speak, I decided to go back and re-edit a brand new version, put all the conversation back together as it happened when we recorded it, tangents and all. And then I thought, why save this just for new listeners? It's been long enough. I bet some older fans of Wonderland Wednesday would like this upgraded version as well, so why not re-release it there too? Well, I guess we could probably start with production history since you're the Alice expert. Do you have any fun trivia you want to share?
Well, I did talk about it a little bit in the Song the South video already.
I don't think it matters if you recap some of that because probably...
Yeah, because there'll be Alice fans who probably won't care about watching the Song of the South video.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, true.
Though they should.
All right. They should. Yeah. Okay, well, Walt's... I'm sure a lot of Disney fans will already know this, but Walt was always very extremely interested in doing Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, to be honest, the Alice comedies I wouldn't really call an Alice.
Yeah.
But anyone who's not familiar with the Alice comedies, before Mickey Mouse, the very first cartoon that Walt Disney Studios made was the Alice comedies in 1923. And it was a live-action little girl going into a cartoon Wonderland, I guess, in a way. But the concept was, I would say the concept was inspired by Alice. Like, it is a little girl going into a fantasy world. He just took it like a different direction, with the time period, basically.
I've never seen that.
Oh, you haven't seen the Alice comedies? I do recommend. They're not all good. Some of them are really bad because they were at some point they were just making them to make them.
Oh.
There's one thing to keep in mind about the really early Disney stuff from like the 20s. Walt wasn't really in charge. They were. Oh my gosh, I don't remember like who they were making cartoons for, but basically it was somebody going, make these cartoons.
That would make more sense because just making them to make them does not sound like Walt Disney.
Yeah, it's not what Walt would have. Walt got bored of things. That played a part in why he ended up going solo. But it was also because the next character after the Alice comedies, which was Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, the character is basically stolen from him because it really belonged to the person who was producing it, not him. So that's when he came up with Mickey. It was like, I'm going to own everything I work on. So that's never going to happen to me again.
Mm.
But anyway, going back to Alice. So yes, there's always been a very early Alice connection, but I wouldn't really call it an Alice. But like right when he got the idea to like start making full-length animated films, Alice was a very early contender. But I believe they went with Snow White pretty early though. But they could have done... they did Alice work like late 1930s, and they were also doing a lot of research into the copyright of the Alice stories. So actually, probably the big reason why Alice definitely was not the first animated Disney full-length Disney movie, was probably because Paramount made their Alice. Otherwise, that might have been the first Disney movie in a way. So like the very first version, I don't know if you're aware of this, it was going to be a live action basically like the Alice comedies, live action with Mary Pickford as Alice
Oh, wow.
in an animated Wonderland. Yeah, there are color photo test shots.
I kind of want that to be a thing.
I know Mary Pickford was so cute and talented. I'm sure she would have made it work. She was very excited about it. But Paramount announced that they were going to do their Alice. So not only was that not very, it's not very smart to do an Alice when another big studio is doing an Alice. They had the copyright. They got the copyright for the book. However, at that time, Disney. Okay, so very interesting situation with the copyrights for Alice. The copyright for the text of Alice and for the illustrations of Alice were separate. So the copyright for the text expired earlier than the copyright for the illustrations based on when Lewis Carroll died and when John Tenniel died. So Disney got the illustrations copyright. So Paramount couldn't exactly make it look like the illustrations, but I mean, they were pretty close, I would say. But they didn't get the book copyright, so they couldn't do it. But they were looking into, even after that, I would say it looked like they were looking into it being a possible second film, like around the time Pinocchio was being done, because we have storyboards from 1939 from David Hall. Disney loves to use these storyboards because I don't know if you guys have ever seen these storyboards by David Hall, but they look nuts. They're very 30s-esque. They're very grotesque, but they're very inspired by the book illustrations.
Okay.
There's a lot of surreal imagery, but I don't know, imagine kind of a surrealness mixed with 30s cartoon animation. It would have been very neat, but when Walt saw these storyboards, he hated it. He thought it was awful, that it was too faithful to the book, and that it was too grotesque. So he's like, no, we're not going to do it like this. So they didn't do David Hall's version, which would have been interesting. Some of the things I remember was because, well, it was very inspired by the illustrations. There were a lot of liberties. So, for instance, once Alice arrived on shore, she would have met the Mock Turtle and the Griffin there right away, instead of them being there later in the story. When she, how she talks to the doorknob in the Disney movie?
Yeah.
Well, in this version, she was going to talk to the Drink Me bottle. It was going to be like a little man bottle with juice in him, and she would drink from him. And I don't know, which is a weird concept. Probably best they didn't go with that. And my favorite concept, though, is she was going. That's actually where the concept of her being on trial came from, and she was going to be executed. Her head is in a guillotine, and she wakes up.
So why was she supposed to be in trouble in that version?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember if it's because she stole the jam tarts. There's actually another really hard thing about the early production history of this film is not all of it's available. You can watch a reel of this storyboard, but it's only on the Laserdisc. Disney's never re-released it. You have to get the Laserdisc, and I have seen it. Sam from Curious Archive did get it, but it's really sped up and hard to watch. I don't know why it's so sped up. Anyway, they do have you could actually get these illustrations from these storyboards in books that they sell, but as far as I know, you can't get the full storyboard in the book. It's just selected illustrations from it. Let's see, and then after that, and meanwhile what was going on, this is information that I found while researching. Disney bought the rights from Paramount, even though at the time they bought them, the book was finally, the rights were finally expired. They didn't have to buy them. But in Hollywood, you just buy it anyway to avoid trouble, because they could have sued them. And this was also around the time, you guys have watched the 1949 Bunyan version, right? I believe
The French?
Yes, the French one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the French one. Bunyan was trying to get the rights at the same time. So both Bunyan and Disney were trying to buy the Alice book rights from Paramount, which were expired. And Paramount went with Disney, and that's part of why he was so pissed. And he's like, "It's expired. I'm going to make it anyway. There's nothing they could do to me. Take me to court, you know."
Oh, the French guy.
Yeah. Well, actually, he's not French. The French produced it with him. He was American.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess I thought he was French because the movie was both French and English.
He was approached by French film because the French government wanted to utilize the Nazi labs that they left behind for photography, and they wanted, so they were like, let's have a film industry.
Oh my goodness!
In America was the country of films, so they went to America, and Bunyan was one of the people they got because he did a very successful. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm not a Bunyan expert. He did a very successful movie right before then.
This is already amazing.
Sorry.
What was his favorite breakfast food? Come on, Jenna.
Oh, I don't know that. Sorry. But sorry, we're going on a bit of a tangent, but I do
No, this is great.
Yeah, I find the Bunyan Alice and the Disney Alice fascinating. Their like history, and because it's like the war of Alice's, right? You got the drama, you got the betrayal, it's, you know, you got the legal battle, it's perfect, and it's not talked about enough. I still need to do more research. But anyway, so he didn't do a whole film, but he did like a very successful section in a film. And that was part of why Paramount was even considering selling it to him. And they were like, well, actually, no, they weren't going to sell it to him. They were considering having him direct it. They were going to produce it. And that's why, but Disney was like, I want the rights. And that's part of why he was so pissed off.
So is that how the French got a hold of him, or were the French?
They were like, we're looking to start up a film industry. We want to make a film.
And he's like, my buddies have turned on me. I'm going to the French.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Pretty much. He turned his back on the American film industry at the time. Actually, from what I read, I believe there was an article where they actually were like, he's gone to France, and he's taking his animators with him.
You can't blame him.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go back to the Bunyan Alice again. Anyway, Disney's happy. He's finally got the expired rights for the books that he doesn't need, but he knows Paramount's not going to give him trouble now. So he's looking at doing the film, but he's like, you know what? Does this book really translate to a film very well? Like, it's very episodic. There's no like overarching story. And they were also doing research into previous Alices, one of which they watched the Paramount film and they hated it. They got like a screening. They got Paramount to send them the reels to watch it. They were like,
was
this
that
is
1933 terrible. Or was that a different one? Okay.
The 1933 one with
the
Charlotte.
One?
I don't know which one you guys call terrible. It's the one where they look like they have melted faces.
31 is the terrible one.
Okay.
33 is the one with all the stars.
Yeah.
Oh,
you like 33, right? I think.
I feel like that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was better than 31, definitely.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Many things are.
Yeah. It's not hard to be better than that one. But like as a film though, so a lot of people do like 33. I personally, I don't feel like it's a very good Alice adaptation, but it is technically faithful. There's definitely a lot of, because that's the thing, like it does try to be faithful. I think they tried too hard. I think if they actually took some things out, it would have done better. But anyway, Disney was like, they try to be faithful, and look at how this movie turned out, because that movie bombed at the time. It did not do well. I know there are some people who think that was the reason why big fantasy movies didn't really do well again until Wizard of Oz. I don't know. I'm not enough of a film expert of that era to be able to say that, but it was a really big financial loss. But another thing was Alice was supposed to be part of this huge film directive that they had. But anyway, that's another tangent.
At Paramount.
Yeah, that's the Paramount Alice. Anyway, so Disney hated it. So they're like, okay, we can't do what they like. How can we avoid what they did? And so Walt thought of a story. Like, we can make it a story where we have these sections from Wonderland Inn as part of this overarching story. And when you look into the context of Alice, which, you know, a lot of people who look into the context of Alice in Wonderland do find the background context of Oxford and Lewis Carroll or Charles Dodson, and that it was a real little girl he told his stories to. They do find that very interesting. So there was kind of like some inspiration here. Part of the problem was they were real people with relatives and a lot of scholars with Carol and Alice who like wanted to be involved. So he was making a script with oh my gosh, I'm not gonna say it right. Aldous Huxley. He wrote Brave New World, and
really?
Is it
yeah,
Aldous?
Sorry.
Aldous?
I have pronunciation problems. Yes, it is. He's also the grandson. Yes, the grandson of Julia Arnold, who was one of Lewis Carroll's child friends. So, you know, which felt like
Huxley
it led some.
was?
Yeah, he was the grandson of a child friend that Lewis Carroll had. Why the oh boy?
That's just, I guess, a lot to take in.
It is a lot to take in.
So he helped Walt, or no?
Yeah, he was writing the script for this new treatment. So this is basically where it ties into Song of the South. If anybody's interested who's watching this, I talk a little bit about that in Jonathan's Song of the South video about the history of Alice and Song of the South there, because this is the version that basically turned into Song of the South. You have a live-action Alice again in an animated Wonderland, and you have a storyteller who's telling these animated tales, and it's supposed to go into this overarching story about why stories are important. And this one, I feel like this one was probably a little bit closer to Walt's heart, because it was about being a storyteller, and I did address it in the Song of the South one as well, I believe. He felt like he had to justify that being a storyteller was important.
Mm-hmm.
So Huxley was very interested in this version. It was very personal to him because of his connection, his familial connection. But this was a very strange version. Unfortunately, most of the material for this version was in Huxley's house, and it was destroyed in a fire later. So we're missing, like, a lot of material for this is actually gone. But I found a couple things, like I found some concept art in an auction once.
Of course you did.
And there is a book about Huxley's work in general that goes over some of the surviving content that they do have. So in particular, Alice, so the little family, her dad's still the Dean of Oxford. Lewis Carroll still lives there and works there. But Alice is their only child. She doesn't have any sisters. And for some reason, her parents go off on a trip. So they get a governess. And the governess is awful. She doesn't like imagination. And she's always like stifling Alice's and wanting her to be a proper young lady. Meanwhile, Lewis Carroll is like the fun uncle. And he feels sorry for her because, you know, her parents are gone. And she has this awful governess person. So he tells her stories about Wonderland, and that's where the animated segments with Alice would have been part of it that help her in real life. In particular, I think she gets trapped in a greenhouse, and she imagines a hose as a snake that helps her out or something. So it's kind of like it's Song of the South when Johnny tricks the bullies. And Ellen Terry, the actress, would have been in it. She actually would have been Lewis Carroll's love interest, which is weird. She was much, much younger than him. But this was something they seemed to have purposely chosen, because there's a quote of Walt saying, let's give him a love interest. And I had the feeling that he wanted, because at the time there were the pedophilia rumors with Lewis Carroll, and he wanted to like curb that. But anyway, there was a lot of...
Question.
Yes,
okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
So
I'm just rambling to myself.
Was Lewis Carroll supposed to have Alice as a love interest or somebody else as a love interest?
No. Ellen Terry. She was a famous actress at the time.
So, like, he would have this side interest along with telling the stories?
Yes.
And this is supposed to somehow help curve historical rumors in a different direction?
Yeah, even though I would say historically, Ellen was much younger than him, and he knew her as a child, so I'd say that she was an adult in the script.
That wouldn't have helped a whole lot then.
Okay, so Ellen is one of the kids that he told stories to back in the day.
I don't think he was that close to her when she was a kid, but she did know her as a kid and then was friends with her when she was an adult as a famous actress because he was very into theater.
Okay.
But I'm kind of like, I don't know. Yes,
It's kind of
she
like
was
Pocahontas and John Smith here.
yes, yes. She was. There was a very big age difference still. So I'm like, that's still a bit icky, but okay. I guess it's better. Um,
It's better than real life. No.
well, I don't want to go into that because that's a whole different discussion. But anyway,
What, the rumors?
yeah, because I'm at least when I was doing my blog, I was very vocal that the pedophilia rumors were invented by Freudians because when you go back to trace the evidence, there was actually a lot of cover up of gossip with him with adult women that his family were trying to hush up.
I think I'd rather, not that he should be messing around at all, but I'd much rather have rumors going around that you were misbehaving with adults than with...
Yes, but Victorians it's a very different viewpoint.
So it's kind of a strange time in history.
Yeah, it really is.
Cool in many ways, but...
Yeah, they're just, I don't, his family really had no idea that they were setting him up for something so horrible.
Mm.
And now that there is the evidence, nobody wants to believe it.
I think you know a lot of history that I don't know about that. Like, whatever history I know about those rumors, I've probably just read some of it on a Wikipedia page. And you've obviously gone in with tweezers and a microscope to try and figure out whether he's guilty or not, and what the family had to say and what was going on. And I have no idea what was going on and what the family had to say.
If you are interested, I would recommend In the Shadow of the Dream Child by Caroline Leach. But tangent, let's go back to the Walt. So I don't think there's ever been like a very clear reason said for why he stepped away from this version of Alice. But I think we can make some, guesses. For one thing, a lot of people were trying to get involved in this version because of the real life people being portrayed. For instance, I know that Alice's descendants were trying to be in contact because they wanted influence over how she would be portrayed in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe even his family, the Dawson family, was trying to get involved, and a lot of Alice purists in general, which a lot of them, let's be real, would have wanted a romance between Alice and Lewis Carroll because they're creepy. So I think,
Okay.
yeah, and I think at some point he was just like, you know what, maybe this would be better with a fictional storyteller, because then I can control the narrative, right? And I think that's when it became Song of the South, because Uncle Remus isn't a real person, so he could make up a story, and he doesn't have to worry about, people getting upset if it's wrong. Of course, people got upset for other things, but
Which it's interesting you bring out that perspective, because us in this century, I wasn't even thinking about living relatives trying to influence this film.
Yeah, that never even crossed my mind.
But it's really, it's not so far removed from that time period that makes sense.
oh yeah.
What year did the real Alice die?
Oh my gosh, what year did she die? 30s. She died in the 30s.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, because I know there was that old footage of her paying a visit to the U.S.
Yeah, she died a few years after that. And Carl Little, her grandson, was very, very into the whole real Alice in Wonderland thing and making money off of it. No, it's not her grandson, her son. He's the one who pushed her to do all that promotional stuff. She did not want to do it.
So he made money off of her.
Yeah, he made money off her, so he very much wanted to control the narrative.
I wonder how much she got out of it.
Not very much. She still wasted it.
Oy.
He put it in bad investments, and she ended up having to sell her home that she lived in her whole life after she got married to her husband.
Sounds...
Oh, yeah, because that's when she had to sell that manuscript, wasn't it?
Yeah, she did.
Like
she sold a manuscript to keep her home, and she ended up losing it anyway because of him. So
Was it an original something or other?
The original Alice in Wonderland manuscript.
Yeah,
that Lewis Carroll illustrated.
Yeah.
So she had a really rotten kid.
Pretty much. And he was more interested in like the money they can make from it. Anyway, so I think there was appeal in like, you know what, let's just make these characters absolutely 100% fictional. No one can complain because they're fictional. So it became Song of the South, and that's part of the reason why I have interest in that film. So they went back to the storyboard for Alice because they didn't want to give up. But I feel like at this point, this is the point where Walt kind of like, I give up. I don't know what to do for this story. I liked this story, but I don't think it's transferable to film. But at this point, you know, everybody wanted him to do an Alice. Like, it was expected. It's kind of like when Burton did an Alice, right? Everyone's like, do an Alice, do Alice.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, okay, you know what? And it just points to his animators, you guys do it. And he pretty much left them alone. And the problem with animators, you know, they get focused on like gags, right? So what ended up happening was that they had different teams of people who worked on different sequences of the film. So it kind of ended up being like a contest between the different teams. Like, who can make this wackier instead of like a cohesive story?
Mm.
Which, I mean, to be fair, I do kind of feel like it works okay for the episodic nature of the book. But considering that they tried to put in a story for Alice about her wanting to go home, it makes her very unrelatable, I think. But anyway, Walt pretty much, he chose Catherine Beaumont, but other than that, he had his, you know, he was kind of like, I'm going to work on other things. Also, I want to build a theme park. And I'm going to start thinking about that.
So how much did he care about this film?
Not at all. When it was finished, he didn't like it. He felt like, especially when the scene, she cries and told you would, he felt like it wasn't a good scene because nothing was done to build up the emotional connection for her to feel that way.
Mm.
So he wasn't very pleased with it. I think probably his favorite part was Catherine Beaumont because he kept her on for multiple things, including Peter Pan.
I thought maybe you were going to say you thought it was too much like Snow White off in the woods surrounded by
goofy characters.
Well, I mean, precious little animals, but this was just Wonderland animals and birds. Other, you know.
I think the thing is, like, even Snow White still kind of has like connection with the characters. Like
but
the dwarves.
It's such a similar feeling of off in the woods, upset. You know.
But she does have that like. I think the difference is like you connect to Snow White more because she's being unfairly prosecuted and chased into the woods where she's terrified, and then she ends up crying and getting comforted by the animals. I don't know. I think it's set up a little bit more to be sympathetic, whereas Alice is like, I want a Wonderland, and then she gets there, she's like, I guess this isn't what I wanted.
But she has strange things happening to her, and just when she gets a path, it's taken away from her, and she is supposed to be a child. So it's understandable if you're a child stuck in strange woods that maybe, just maybe, you would feel like sitting down and crying and thinking, I wish I could go home now. Maybe what I wanted wasn't such a great idea.
True, though I think from the audience perspective, we're kind of meant to think Wonderland is fun.
If you were there, would you be happy?
No. But we're not really focused on her throughout the movie. It's more about who she meets, which I say is like the book too. I think it actually probably would have been better if they just didn't do that at all and they just focused on it being a road trip kind of story. It's about the journey, not the destination.
We'll have the t-shirts made up.
But anyway, so that's the production history. I'm sure people might have things to add. I'm not perfect.
Well, you knew a lot more than I did, for sure.
Sure,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Okay, oh, yeah.
Yes,
these things I saw on auction, let me tell you about.
I did forget. Author Babbitt was part of the team for that Song of the South version of Alice. And he left Disney bitterly over the animator strike. So he hated Disney. So he went to Bunyan. It's like, you're making Alice? Well, I know what they're doing. And so that's why there's that whole plot with Oxford at the beginning, because that was kind of their way of like trying to copy Disney.
So do you think that part of Walt's indifference was also the conflict that he had? Like, just,
yeah,
other people want to make this story, and then this guy who worked for me, he's upset about it, so, and then I have all these people crawling all over me with their opinions, so you know what, forget about it. I'm not even going to invest my emotions into this. I was excited about this, and you people ruined it.
Yeah, because another thing is, now I'm realizing there's actually a little bit more history. As the film was being released, was the trouble with the Bunyan film. The Bunyan film actually released in 1949, but they purposely held off 2 years for the American release so it could come out on the same time as the Disney Alice. This is not coincidence. They did it on purpose.
Wait, okay, so Bunyan held off?
Yes.
Well, but why? You would think that he would want to have it released at a different time so that it could get more attention.
The thing is, it was part spite, because remember, the reason why it didn't happen with Paramount was because they decided to sell their already expired rights to Disney. So his point was, this story is public domain, and I'm going to prove that, and I'm going to have a competition with two Alices at the same time.
So did he just want to know how will mine fare against Disney's?
I guess, in a way, yeah. In a way, it was also kind of a FU.
But
from what I understand, Bunyan and Disney had grievances before this.
Who even knows who that guy is now? Whereas the the optimist lives on.
One thing to keep in mind is, at the time, Bunyan was a bit more well known than he is today. He did so many commercials. People recognized his work, and he did like stop motion segments in films at the time. So his work hasn't really lived on, unfortunately. But at the time, people would have been more familiar with him, if that makes sense.
Probably still not as familiar as
Still not as familiar as Disney, but he was like, I'm going to make it better. And you could argue that he might have been hoping that people would accidentally see his phone instead of Disney's. And that is why Disney took him to court. And I think Walt was also really upset because he saw that the film was based off an earlier story treatment they were going to do.
Okay, quick question. You mean like they know Alice is coming out, they think they're going to go see Disney, but they accidentally go see his? Is that what you mean?
Yes. Especially some theaters might have only chosen to show one. And if somebody meant to go out to see the Disney Alice, but they went to a theater that had the Bunyan Alice instead.
Okay.
Well, we're here. Let's watch that.
So this guy maybe knew that he was a little bit smaller potatoes and wanted to just sort of crawl up the ladder a little bit more, or?
Maybe. I personally think it was more of a big FU. Like, I think that he was trying to be like, F you to Hollywood. It doesn't make any sense to sell each other expired copyrights for public domain stories. And, like, there shouldn't just be one monopoly on animation, because Disney was the big dogs at the time for animation.
What was the lawsuit about, basically? That he was taking revenue away from him?
Yes, and that he was treading on the rights they had.
So, like, Disney sued him, right?
Yes.
So I kind of felt like Disney was the big guy going after the little guy. I feel less sorry for the other guy now.
Well, history is not black and white. I feel for both of them in a way, because if Paramount had gone and done the film with Bunyan, it would have been huge for him, right? Like, it's still really the only big film that he was able to end up doing.
Okay.
And it was kind of BS that they ended up selling the rights to Disney when the rights it didn't even matter. They just...
I still feel like he should have just released it when it was ready, and
I agree.
Send it with a kiss out into the world and be like, if they love it, great. Either way, because
he should have released it in 1949, 1950.
If it was amazing, then that in itself would have stolen some of Disney's thunder. It's like, wait, we just saw this film and you guys are coming out with another one? Okay, what you got?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It would have made more sense from that perspective, for sure.
It really would have. Though I do know that there was some problems with the production company he chose. In particular, in one newspaper article I was reading, there were reports that the distribution company offered to sell Disney the movie so they could stop distribution without conferring with Bunyan. So it's
he didn't do that though, did he?
No, he got a different distribution company. He was like, "F you guys."
Yeah, that's really underhanded.
Yeah, it really is.
Would Walt have stopped the distribution of it?
As far as I know, there was never. I haven't found any indication that they were interested in trying to go that route. I think he wanted to take them to court because it would hurt more. Because another thing to keep in mind is Art Babbitt did a huge betrayal. Mm-hmm. So he couldn't sue that they stole his work because they ended up not doing that story treatment.
Okay, so Art Babbitt going to this guy and saying this is the type of story that they're doing, and then he did that type of story?
Yeah.
Because you remember in the French version, they had that whole beginning with them in the real world, with the real people.
You had more parallels between the real world and or more clearly defined parallels. So that was in and of itself basically a Disney ripoff.
Originally, it was trying to rip off Disney.
Wow.
It's kind of like how DreamWorks tried to release things before Pixar would.
Like
vague
Ants
idea
in
of the
a
story
Bug's
treatment.
Life.
Yeah, exactly. Shark's Tale before Finding Nemo.
Mm-hmm.
To make it look like they did it first.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I haven't watched the DreamWorks movies, and I've watched...
I don't recommend the early DreamWorks movies. You could go to Shrek, that one's fine. You don't need to watch Ants.
Ants scarred me as a child.
If you're pointing to Shrek as a higher level...
Well, that was when DreamWorks was getting good. Prince of Egypt is good. I think that was the first one. I'm not a DreamWorks fan.
Yeah, I think Prince of Egypt was their first. It was one of the only hand-drawn ones that they did before they switched into CGI.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a story of Hollywood portrayal, just like Katzenberg got pissed off at Eisner and went to DreamWorks and did that. And legal battles are really, really, really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was like, I don't even want to buy out their movie. I'd rather take it to court. But I don't think he should have, because I think his movie would have done just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And but because he lost, because they were like, it is public domain. These rights don't have any standing in court.
And he couldn't go after him for like taking his idea.
Copying him because they didn't do it.
They went in another direction after he snuck away with their plans.
It was just enough to make him mad over his cereal or whatever.
Yeah, though, can you imagine if they didn't change their plans? Oh my lord. Maybe that would have been a different story.
I think they definitely would have had a case at that point.
Yeah, but unfortunately they didn't have a case. And the judge even said, competition should be encouraged. So, even though it was very obvious they went for the same week as the Disney Alice was releasing. So, it was very direct competition. Now, this is where Walt gets a little bad. He was like, you know what? I have connections at Technicolor. I'm going to talk to them, and I have like movie theater connections. So I'm going to threaten theaters that if they show this Alice, they won't get to have future Disney movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Bunyan Alice did really, really poorly because it was barely shown. And which is, yes, they kind of did it to themselves. But at the same time, I do think it is a bit sad because the American version of their Alice was like top dollar. It was even better than the French version we have. We're still waiting on the restoration.
It's almost like a competition of who was the least well-behaved in the sandbox.
Kind of, yeah. It's like, who's the worst?
Because yes, they're grown-ups, but it's kind of childish, honestly.
Yeah, it is childish. I really feel like Walt didn't need to do that. I think,
No.
to be honest, I think people still would have picked to go see the Disney Alice, even at movie theaters where both of them were showing, because, come on, you're
You
gonna
get brand
pick the weird
recognition.
stop motion ones or the cool cell animation one, you know? And the Disney one also had like more voices they recognized too, like Jerry Colonna, Edwin. So
He was just obviously ticked enough at losing that he's like, I'm gonna try and spit in your eye this way. So, like, I think they both felt. It sounds like they both felt very entitled, and it wasn't healthy on either side.
it really wasn't. Both of them did bad things. But I would say Disney won. You know, Walt was very unhappy with the movie at the time, and I think that is kind of justified with like all the things that went on with it. But his version did win the test of time.
For sure.
It did, yeah. And that's the fun production history of this film. We haven't even gotten into the film yet.
This is basically a podcast on its own. I'm probably going to split this into 2 halves.
You're welcome. Someone needs to get on me about that. I really need to do more research about that war. It's so much fun.
you already know way, way more than the average person.
Yeah.
I do, but I feel like there's more out there.
More.
I know there's more.
You can write a book.
Part of it is like I probably should contact Bunyan's daughter, but I feel really bad coming in like, hey, so your dad stole this, right? Because I've read her blog, and obviously her dad's her hero.
So Jonathan's saying you could write a book. If you write a book,
I don't know about that.
If you no, oh come on, the last half hour or whatever this is, you could totally write a book, and then you would have an excuse to contact whoever you want and be like, so what's your side of the story? I'm writing this book. Let's get your take.
I mean, yeah, and it involves Disney, so I'm sure it'd be pretty juicy. There might be some conflict there because I work, in the theme park, but
would that cause a conflict since you work
I have
for
no
Disney?
idea.
I'm
not into legal stuff.
Use a pseudonym. Use a pen name. Come on. All the cool pictures you could put in there.
Just call yourself Phantom Jenna, and nobody will know.
Yeah, nobody will know. Just the people who listen to this. We're in a secret club now.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. Jenna's going to write a top secret book. Put all the juicy details in it.
Anyway, shall we actually get into the film?
Yeah, I suppose we probably should.
I will let you guys talk next because I've spent so long. What are your opinions?
And we can be like, wow, they had some nice little pictures on the screen. We enjoyed it.
It's very good animation. It's been a while since I watched it, and so when I watched it again, I was like, I forgot how good this is.
It's funny because I'm always surprised. Like, every time I come back to this, I've always watched like a whole bunch of other Alice's in between the last time I saw this one, and I'm always surprised at how great this one is. Because I've watched a lot of bad Alice's at this point.
Which we just got done. We just got done spending over 3 hours watching an Alice.
Which one?
That
85, the American one.
Oh my gosh! I mean, it's not a bad one per se, but it's long.
Sarah's
finally
not a fan.
did it.
After we got done watching and reviewing that, he came over to our house, and I said, go ahead and flip on the Disney Alice while I'm fixing supper, because that way I don't have to pay full attention. I've seen it before. It's actually been a long time since I watched the whole thing. And it was such a breath of fresh air. It wasn't 3 hours long. It's colorful. It's fun. It's so colorful. And it's one of those eras in history that I find enjoyable. So it's very much a nod to that time. And oh my goodness, after all of the bad Alice's that we have watched, to have one that doesn't drag out, that's fun. Yeah, oh my goodness. It was so nice.
And personally, this movie, I would say it does mean a lot to me. It's what got me into Alice in Wonderland. This is where it started. I didn't like it as a kid. I thought it was a weird movie as a kid. But I watched it again as a preteen, and I was like, I like this movie. I'm going to read the book. And things happened.
Yeah, I'd say.
A lot of things happened.
A lot of things happened. Here I am. So, though it's funny because as I walked into other Alice's, I kind of wandered away from this one a bit. I haven't watched it in a long time. Because at some point, you've seen it so much, you go, yeah, I've seen that. I don't need to see it again.
And the thing is,
it's a good one.
They switched stuff around. Yes, they took liberties, but as I'm watching it, there's only so much I care. Usually I nitpick over, okay, this would have normally been in the other book, and they did this wrong, and they didn't need a song there. But with this one, it's like, go ahead, guys, just soothe my soul.
Like some relief lotion after you get a sunburn, that kind of stuff, right?
Yes, oh my goodness.
Because and also when I was doing my blog, I would get a lot of messages like, "Oh, the Disney Alice," and it's like, what are you guys stubbing your nose at? It's pretty good. And it's like, yeah, it's not quote unquote faithful, but then we got burned, so I don't think you can complain about it being unfaithful anymore.
It has so much to offer.
And I like the changes they make. I don't agree with like every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I probably wouldn't have added in Alice wanting to go home. I probably wouldn't have done the Tweedles, but I have a thing against the Tweedles, so that's just me.
I wouldn't have emphasized the Queen's rear end. I wouldn't have given her heart underpants. I think that was of the times too. Like, oh my goodness.
Oh, that was very of the times.
Underwear is so funny, haha. And it's like, no. That's my main beef.
I think my main beef probably is her whole I want to go home thing, because that's not from the book. She's just kind of in for the adventure in the book, and I like that about her. So it is slightly annoying that once she gets to Wonderland, she's like, I don't like this anymore.
But doesn't she have to get kind of lost in the wood before she starts feeling... Well, I think she just gets frustrated before that.
She gets like progressively more annoyed with people, which I guess is understandable because the people in the story
That's kind of why I like the 1972 version of Fiona Fullerton, because I feel like that Alice has fun with what's going on, but also she gets annoyed. Like she'll be like, okay, you've reached my limit. You're annoying now. So I feel like that one has a good balance, but in this one, she doesn't really seem to be having any fun. So it kind of just feels like she's being a downer.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think another big part of that is the animators ended up focusing way more on the characters she's meeting rather than her.
That's true. Yeah.
So like I feel like for instance, if you think about the Mad Tea Party, you're thinking more about like the Hatter and the Hare, and especially like the Hatter. You're not really thinking about like how she is in that scene.
Yeah.
I feel like they might have not focused on her enough, I guess, and that might be why the Tulgey Wood scene stands out to a lot of people. But still, though, like I like Catherine Beaumont.
Yeah.
I like her voice. I love her mannerisms because they did live action reference with the voice
and
acting.
I could tell that with a lot. There's so many moments in this movie where I noticed little movements, little facial expressions, and I knew that they were copying probably her specifically. They captured her personality very well. That's like my favorite thing about the animation is how well they captured her personality.
That's great.
I would have loved... I wish they still had all the live action reference. I think they've only released like one clip of it that they've been able to quote unquote find. I'm kind of doubtful that they've really lost most of it.
It's got to be buried in the archives somewhere.
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere, and I really doubt there's only one clip.
If they could find the whole thing, they should put together a whole movie.
And make money
I
off
would
of
love
it.
that. Yeah.
I mean, if they did that and they released it in the theater, I'd definitely go see it.
Yeah.
You should do it for some kind of anniversary. Or what?
Put it on Disney Plus. Disney Plus is the perfect place for something like that.
What year did this movie come out?
1951,
I believe.
51. So they could do it for like the 75th.
I just remember that they just did like this merch line on the Disney store. Maybe that was for the
It probably was for the 70th, because
Yeah.
70th would have been last year, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they just did a huge line. It was pretty good. I got some of it. But anyway,
Your own
let's see,
birthday present.
yeah, a birthday present. I have a lot of Allison birthday presents to myself, and a lot of it is Disney because it's easily accessible and I get a discount. But
You have connections.
it's like, oh no, you're fueling my obsession. But anyway, I think Catherine is wonderful. I love her expressions. I would totally just watch a live action version of this movie. You don't even need to animate the Wonderland characters in. I'll just watch her. It's fine. So I love that they did that and they were able to like animate her with that. And you could tell that with the other characters as well. Like in particular when Jerry Colonna he would do this waggling eyebrows thing and the March Hare does that.
Also, another fact that the average person's probably not going to know, so thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. Edwin, he's the Hatter in this. By the way, did you notice if he sounded a little strange in the movie?
Doesn't he normally?
All right, so here's some fun trivia. And this kind of fits in because I was talking about the live action reference and how they put in the actor's mannerisms. Edwin's was very much like the Robin Williams of his day. So they got him into the studio and he just threw out the script. And he's like, I'm going to do a bunch of improv. And
I wondered if a lot of that was improv. It sounded like he was just kind of making stuff up as he went.
Oh, it was. And he just went to town. I would have loved to see that, especially probably his energy with Catherine and Jerry Colonna. But anyway, so he went to town. And they're like, oh, this is great. We're going to keep all of this in the movie. So, all right, Edwin, go into the recording studio and record the lines. And it was just falling flat because it didn't have the energy of improv in it anymore, right? Now it's just recorded lines. He's not working with the props. I think Edwin does really well in costume with props and stuff. So when you take that all away, it just wasn't sounding good. So they went to Walt and they're like, what are we going to do? Like, he was really great in the live action footage. So we wrote it all down, but he can't replicate it. And he's like, well, you have it on tape? And they're like, yeah. And he goes, use that audio then. They're like, but Walt, it's not professional movie quality audio. Like, it's noisy. There's things going on in the background. Other people talk. And he's like, well, I'm figuring it out. And
He's like the adult that came in to help the kids or something, and like, well, play nice. I gotta go do laundry now.
Yeah, Walt did that a lot actually. He would just be like, figure it out, and they would. So they actually did figure it out, and they did a really good job. And you can't even tell. Yeah,
I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, if you listen to that scene, you can notice a slight difference in his audio quality compared to the other two.
I probably will now, but before this, I would have had no idea.
Yeah, so I would love to see that live action footage when he was improving and going nuts. I'm sure it was a lot of fun.
It's got to still exist. They better release it at some point. Maybe they're saving it for the 75th anniversary.
Please, I mean, we get more and more. You know, like Robin Williams did a lot of improv for Aladdin, and they've only released like a tiny bit of it.
That's true.
I think they have like over 2 hours of improv material from him. So
my.
Yeah, I'm sure there's even more improv material from Ed Wynn that didn't even make it into the film. So please find it.
This is the perfect use for Disney Plus. I've been saying this for other things, but like Disney Plus is the perfect way to release a lot of this behind the scenes stuff that we don't get to see.
They need to do more extras.
Yeah.
They don't have enough extras. Like, it's normally just the movie and a trailer.
They're making the whole TV series and sometimes movie-length episodes for behind the scenes of like The Mandalorian and the Marvel movies. They should go backwards and do some of the old stuff and do the same thing.
Yeah, they have stuff that they released on DVDs. They could just put that up.
Yeah,
but
that too.
They don't want to do that because they want you to buy the DVDs.
Well, I do have a DVD, but
Yeah,
I want more.
that's how they get us though. Like they have this stuff, they know they have it, and they keep it in the vault so they can re-release bits of it. So you'll get the next edition. So you see the new bit. That's how they get you.
Diabolical.
Yeah, it's diabolical. So I guess we might as well talk about the Math Tea Party while we're here. What do you guys think of the Disney Math Tea Party?
I love the animation.
It's very, very fun.
It's like the best Mad Tea Party of any version. The way they animate the teapots, the way they do all the weird versions of pouring tea, like cracking an egg, like taking the pot and cracking it like an egg.
All the sight gags.
Snipping the stream of tea with his ears, pouring the teacup and saucer out of the pot. I love all that stuff.
Half a cup if you don't mind.
The Mad Tea Party, sometimes it's not mad enough in different versions. And this is just like the animators went all out.
What I find interesting about the Disney Tea Party is when you think about it, when you really think about it, in the book, it's not that mad. It's more like the topics of conversation are mad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like these are crazy people having a tea party.
Yeah.
And I feel like the adaptations up until Disney pretty much did that. Like even the Bunyan Alice Tea Party isn't that mad. But then Disney was like, let's just make this crazy. We're going to have fireworks. We're going to have a mallet in there. All these teapots are going to come alive. Because it's animation. Let's go full out. And I feel like every version since then has been trying to top them.
Yeah.
The Tea Party is always where they try new things. And I like it. It's a little mark Disney has left on Alice adaptations that I don't mind. I like the Tea Party.
I feel like animation is perfect for Alice.
I was just going to say that. There's so much in Alice that other versions just can't do that well.
It would be so hard to do.
Yeah, but okay, like one of my favorite things about this version is when she gets stuck in the house. The way that they like not film but like set that scene, like having her grow and her leg like shoots down the stairs and blasts the rabbit out the door. I love that. With other versions, I guess, yeah, it's more accurate that she just kind of gets stuck in the room, but I love the fact that she like fills up the entire house, and the way they animate her growing and her limbs flying out the windows and doors. I love that.
By the way, they did stuff Catherine in a tiny house. There's a picture of that.
Oh, really?
It looks very uncomfortable. Yes.
But that's something you just can't really capture in live action very well. You'd have to really CGI it these days. And so many older versions, it's just kind of boring. Like she just kind of grows and she fills up an obviously green screen set. And also another one, very animation focused. One reason that this one stands above the others is the scene where she cries the River of Tears. Because so many versions, she just sort of is like crying a little bit. There's a few tears falling down her face. They make a puddle, and then when she shrinks, suddenly there's an ocean for no reason. Like you didn't see her crying enough, but like with animation, like in this version, it's a lot more believable that she's crying this massive tsunami of tears and winding up floating away in her own tears. It just works so much better in animation.
I love the idea that when she shrinks, she drops into the bottle too.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really like about this scene, that I'm sure it's unique to this version because I've never seen that in any other version.
Oh yeah, it's unique to this version. I've never seen anybody replicate that.
And
then we have should we go by story beats now?
We can.
Going back to the rabbit hole a little bit. This rabbit hole, I think, is gorgeous. I would say it's one of the best rabbit holes.
I love the lighting in the scene.
Yes, and I like the different things they have in the hole. Like I like how it gets dark and she turns on a light.
This is probably one of the truest parts to the book.
It probably is, yeah.
It's not as long as in the book, but a lot more happens in this scene from the book than in a lot of versions.
And it is dreamlike. It's not scary. We just got done watching one with a lightning hole, so.
You got done what? Which one?
There was all this lightning.
Oh right. In 85, right?
Yeah, it wasn't about, oh, here's the marmalade. No, it's no.
I love that you refer to it as the lightning hole.
It's like,
I mean, it is.
It is.
I mean, if you were Alice, would you be running down the lightning hole after
No.
the anthropomorphic rabbit?
But I
No.
also wouldn't be chasing a clown rabbit, so
So
he looks like a clown.
I mean, maybe
People
kinda
who
does.
haven't watched the 85 movie are going to be so confused.
And the ones who have would be like, "That's my childhood. Back off."
I hate the 85 White Rabbit, but anyway. He looks like a clown. I hate him. But anyway,
So back to the Disney.
yeah, sorry, back to Disney. So this is
No,
a great
that
rabbit hole.
that was probably more my fault than yours.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, this is a great rabbit hole. I also find it very interesting in terms of like adaptations leading up to it. I don't know, I always find it very interesting that most adaptations do go with her like slowly floating down like this
Mm-hmm.
instead of like actually falling. And it kind of dates back to like 1910. I don't know if Disney like purposely did it. I think they meant to copy the 1933 version anyway.
But
Actually,
I feel
Thinking
like
about it, a
in
lot
the,
of the home elements are probably from 1933.
but wouldn't you say like in the book it's not a quick fall either? Like you have, I mean, maybe it's faster than I realized because stuff's going on in her head, but
I think there's a line about falling through to the center of the earth.
Technically, she is falling, but she feels like it's slowing. I mean, she feels like time is slow, you know? Like,
but yet they didn't belabor the scene, and I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah, I'm thinking of like the 86 BBC version, which was very book accurate if I recall, but it took a long time.
but what goes on. Anyway, so Disney Rabbit Hole, perfect, A+, doesn't go on too long, and it looks cool.
I also like that she waves bye-bye to the cat.
That is
And the
cute.
cat waves to her.
Oh, the cat's beautiful, by the way. Dinah's beautiful cat.
Yeah, I like Dinah.
She's very obviously just an audience stand-in, so she's not talking to herself. But then at the same time, she ends up talking to herself anyway. So the Hall of Doors is very fun. I don't know if you recognize this, but when she opens the multiple doors in a row, that is actually like directly taken from the 1933 Alice.
Okay, I was wondering if, because it's been a little while since I've read the book. We had just watched the 85 version, and it was like, I don't think I said it in that podcast, but it was like door inception. Just like
I was
opening door
saying-
after
Yes,
door.
they got it from the Disney version.
I was saying that I thought maybe that was all it was going to be, and then it transitioned into the Hall of Doors. So
Yeah, so it's one of those things where one version did it, and then other versions copied the first time.
Yes.
Like a Wizard of Oz Ruby Slippers situation.
That's kind of what interests me about adaptations over time is how it ends up influencing each other.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the doorknob?
I like him. My biggest reason for liking him is that I think he makes the scenes flow a lot smoother than it would otherwise.
right, it
True.
since this is more of a colorful, fast-paced Alice, he helps to lighten the scene and explain what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're so used to, okay, she's just figuring this out herself, but you would think I would complain because it's not in the book, but I was okay with it too.
And I think that they made his dialogue capture a Lewis Carroll-esque feel, especially like his wordplay, like impassable.
True. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
I also like that he basically swallows her to get her out the door.
Let me just eat you.
It's a lot faster than the dialogue with the mouse,
That too, yeah.
which they could have done, but no, it was okay that they kept it moving.
Do you like the dodo? I don't really like the dodo.
I guess that's one of my things that I feel like they could have done a little bit better. The caucus race wasn't really the caucus race. I mean, it was a caucus race, but like they didn't have any of the fun dialogue.
It was cute.
Yeah, it was just a song.
In some ways, I kind of like it better. Like, I really like the idea that they're just running around and the tides come in constantly, so they're not getting any drier. I do really like that idea.
It fits with the nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That probably works a lot better for kids.
That's true. For kids, I think the original caucus race would be boring and confusing, so I guess this is fine.
Yeah.
I just like the dry humor, which was missing from this version.
Would you like a fun Disney Parks trivia regarding the caucus race?
Okay.
Yes.
So, when they were gonna do Disneyland, they were thinking of ride designs, and they were thinking about a walk-through Alice in Wonderland attraction, which awesome. But for the caucus race, they were gonna have a turntable, and you would just walk on and off to be part of the caucus race. Lawsuit City. That's
Yeah,
people breaking their ankles.
I could see that going badly.
I like the concept, though, of a walk through
I like the concept
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, they ended up going with a ride.
Didn't they used to have like a Bug's Life thing where you shrank down to the size of a bug? They could have done something like that.
Yeah, they ended up kind of doing that in the original ride version. So yeah, the history of the ride is also a bit complicated. So the original version of the ride ended up being more of a surrealistic experience. So Walt wanted to do an Alice ride, and a lot of people actually asked him, "You don't even like the Alice movie. Why are you doing a ride?" And he's like, "I think it would make a good ride."
He probably still liked the story, just not the situation.
Yeah, and I think he felt like it would be a really good story to be immersed into, because a lot of people don't realize is that original Fantasyland rides in Disneyland were meant to be experiences. They weren't meant to tell the story of the attractions. So, like in the original Snow White, it didn't tell the story of Snow White. You were supposed to be Snow White being chased by the witch who's trying to get you to eat an apple.
Okay.
Yeah, and you get knocked out. You would get knocked out at the end, and that was the end. Like, the witch killed you, basically. Goodbye. Get off the ride.
Well, that sounds fun.
Good for kids.
Yeah, that sounds fun. So
Any other ride stories you have to tell us so that we can just be like, wow, that's interesting?
Well, Mr. Toad.
I was just going to say, Mr.
Still
Toad.
based off. Yeah, it's still original to how it was opening day. He goes mad, driving everywhere, and then he goes to hell at the end because he dies. And that's not in the movie. It's not in the movie at all. Does it still exist? Yes, please. Come ride my favorite ride ever. I love Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
And the thing is, in the book, it's more like a story of redemption. Like,
yeah, in this one, he just goes to hell.
He he becomes a more sensible individual by the end of the book.
Yeah, there's none of that here. You go to hell and then you get off the ride. That's literally where it ends.
Well, I want to know their thought process getting there. Like, why did they think this is a good idea?
I don't know. There's actually not a lot of background information on why they chose to do it that way. But so Mr. Toad and Peter Pan's Flight, I would say too, because Peter Pan's Flight also doesn't tell the story. It's more focused on flying around Neverland.
Do you die at the end?
Peter Pan's Flight is also still original to the original version, so it's not telling the story of Peter Pan really. It's more flying around Neverland.
Yeah, but do you die?
Oh, do you die? No, you don't die.
What's the point of a ride like that?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, what's the point if you don't die?
You should at least be threatened with death.
I mean, you meet pirates, I guess. But,
well, I guess it might count.
Yeah. Anyway, so the original Alice ride was more of an experience, and they had a pretty cool, like, tunnel sequence where it would go through and it would get bigger, so it felt like you were shrinking, and then you would be in the upside down room, which isn't in the movie at all. You would have a giant Cheshire Cat that you would go under, so it was pretty wild. It was grotesque, don't get me wrong, but I would have loved to experience it.
I mean, the tunnel sounds fine, but the giant Cheshire Cat sounds questionable. And this is
somebody actually remade it digitally on YouTube during the pandemic, so you can look that up to get a feel for it. But anyway, and then in the 80s, people were complaining about Snow White, and I guess by extension Alice, not reflecting the movies.
What, they got tired of being hunted?
I guess. Yeah, well, Snow White, the Snow White ride got so many complaints about it being scary because people were going on it expecting to see Snow White and the dwarves.
Not be Snow White?
Yeah, not be Snow White and not be chased by a witch. Original footage does not exist of the ride, but if you want to get an idea of how it was originally like, you can watch the original Walt Disney World version of Snow White, which is different, but was very inspired by the same concept. And it's literally like going into a hellhole of darkness, and the witch coming out and like cackling the whole time. Highly recommend, but it's nightmare fuel. And
use the bathroom before you get on the ride.
Yeah, they had to rename the ride like Snow White's Scary Adventures to warn people. So that time they needed to redesign the rides, and they decided to redo Alice as well. So now Alice is kind of boring. It just tells the story of the movie. I mean, it's still okay.
How come nobody's complained about Toad?
Good question, but I hope they never do. I love going to hell. It's great. I have a fun story with that. So one time, we get people who spread ashes. So one time someone put ashes in a Toad vehicle. And when I heard this, I cracked up because I was like, they must hate that person.
Is this somebody who had like a narcissistic parent and they're like, I don't know what happened to you afterwards, but I'm gonna send you where I think you should go? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Like, what was going through this person's mind that I need to not say too much?
Right? They didn't want to close the ride, so they were sending it throughout the ride over and over again while they were slowly cleaning it up in the load station. So they clean up a little bit, and then they send it through, and then they come back and they clean up more.
So they just kept people out of that. Like, that sorry, this one's unavailable. There's a little mess in there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
We don't know who that. I mean, what that is. Just let us. Like, and what do you do with that? Like, you're cleaning up somebody's ashes. Like, unless you're heartless or something, you go. Where are you gonna put that? Like,
there's nothing you can really
you end
do
up in a trash bin at Disney. I mean, that's not the worst place to have your body go, but like, oh, they love Disneyland. Now they're a part of it forever. Like, this is so bizarre.
I'd heard that people would bring loved ones' ashes to Disneyland, but I'd never heard that they put them into Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Little did realize,
it never happened.
Little did you realize that person just loved Toad, and they were actually honoring the loved one, and it just looks really bad.
I'm sure that's probably what was going on. They were like, oh, they loved Mr. Toad, which fair. Mr. Toad is a great ride. I love it. But yeah. That's my favorite ashes story.
I could understand like a flower bed or something better than anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't give advice on where to store your ashes at Disneyland. I get in trouble for that. But don't do Mr. Toad.
Oh, no, you don't need to give advice. People can figure it out themselves. It's okay.
Anyway.
Oh, over here. They dumped it here.
Anyway, that was a tangent, but we did talk about the Alice ride.
This is what the podcast is for.
Yeah.
Like, oh my. If they just wanted the movie, they could watch the movie. If you want to have a lot of rambling about the movie and some odd stuff thrown in, then this is where you come.
That's true.
Definitely.
That's true. All right, do we have anything else to say about the caucus race?
It's not book accurate, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Next, and on to more adventures.
Yeah. So Tweedles, I don't care for them. Meh.
I'm pretty good with them.
They're fine. They're probably not my favorite Tweedles, but I don't have anything against them.
And this is such
I
a
will say I appreciate the movement, like they're bouncing and stuff, so they're at least fun to watch, like animation-wise.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those massive liberties because this is totally, like, it's not even the same book. So we're like, okay, we want to put the Tweedles here instead of...
Yeah.
And because of that, they've been in every Alice thing ever since because Disney decided to put them in.
But it works.
Yeah. I figured that this Alice was probably the first one to do that because you pretty much always get Tweedle Dum and Tweedle Dee in most versions now.
Yeah, I mean, they were in 1915 and 1933 as well, but those were versions that also covered Looking Glass separately.
Yeah.
They weren't stories that were merged together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the first one that merged them in this way, though, where because even in that merged version, they come in order. Like, they do the Wonderland events and then Looking Glass.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this one, it's actually like, we're going to put them in the middle of Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care too much about the actual mixing, like them doing that. I don't like the Tweedles. And
Do you not like them, period? Or just these Tweedles?
I do like some Tweedles in adaptations. It really depends on how they're being done. These ones just don't speak to me. And I feel like they kind of grind the story to a halt, in my opinion, the movie.
Well, that's kind of true, because it's almost like they have a short film in the middle of the movie, because they go on to do The Walrus and the Carpenter.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest issue, actually, probably, is I really don't like Walrus and the Carpenter. If you're going to give me a Tweedle thing, I probably would prefer the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like there's some humor in that. I'm like, you can't have both either. It's either the battle or the Walrus and the Carpenter. I will say Disney mercifully shortens the Walrus and the Carpenter to the best bits, so it doesn't drag on too long. And they also only chose one. They didn't do both the battle and the Walrus and the Carpenter. So points to them. I just don't care for their Tweedles. They're cute characters to me.
They fit into that era of Irishmen in cartoons.
I didn't think of it that way.
You know?
Mm.
I don't think of it as a mean thing anyway. It's just, I think it's also a window into history of when, maybe not so much at that point, but in recent history, how you would have had a wave of Irish immigrants, probably a lot more people with Irish accents, and just infusing that in, whether it needed to be that way or not.
I never really even gave their accent a thought.
Yeah, I never really made the connection. That's interesting.
Oh, I've contributed. Yay!
I think a lot of us as audience members, especially for older films, like that stuff, like goes over in a way we're so used to it we don't even think about it, and it also goes over our head.
I think it's interesting.
It is interesting.
I like the mom or the grandma who was wiser than
the Mama Oyster. Oh, you ever look at a lot of old Disney park stuff from the 70s? Walrus was a very popular meet and greet character, and I don't get it.
Really?
Yeah, he's not a character I would go, I want to meet him.
I didn't even know they had a character suit for the Walrus.
Yeah, I think he's been retired. Like they don't have him anymore, and they're not going to update him, put him back out. But he was
they should.
Popular character. He was a very popular character in the 70s.
That's very random.
It is. And another random thing is Japan loves the oysters. They think the oysters are adorable. If you look up Disney Alice merch in Japan, you'll see a lot of oyster stuff.
Like the little baby oysters.
Yeah, with their little oyster bonnets.
Because the way they animated them is really cute. It makes it even darker. Like, oh, the little babies are dinner. So
that's interesting. I can see why.
If you guys love them, you better get your merch from Japan.
I kind of want to Google that now.
I actually highly recommend looking up Japan merch for Alice because it's so good, but it's also really addictive. So watch out.
I didn't really think about Japan and Alice in Wonderland, but leave it. They probably love Alice, don't they?
Oh my gosh, Japan is huge over Alice. They were actually considering, when they were expanding Tokyo Disneyland, to put in a Wonderland area, and they decided to go with Beauty and the Beast instead. But I think it says a lot they almost went with Alice. That would not be an option here.
They should have gone with Alice. It would have been interesting.
Yeah.
They should have gone with Alice, in my opinion, but I think they wanted more international visitors, and internationally, Beauty and the Beast is a bigger property.
But think about it. Like, I mean, okay, money, but if you're coming internationally, be like, oh, this is probably the only place with a special Alice in Wonderland land? That could be a draw, like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they still do have an area that's there now with the teacups and the Queen of Hearts restaurant. So there is still like a mini themed area. It's not completely ignored. The restaurant is very, very cool. And they have Alice themed hotel rooms as well. I'm like, man, my Japan trip will just be more expensive because I'll have to stay in this hotel room. You know,
You should ask if you can get a temporary transfer. Can I go sweep the floors at Tokyo Disneyland instead?
unfortunately, it's a different company, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Japan, only Japanese businesses are allowed to own like land. So it's actually owned by a company called Oriental Land Company. They kind of like license the Disney name and characters and license.
Huh.
So
Well, if you ever
Yeah.
become very disillusioned, you know where you can run away to.
just need to learn Japanese. We have a lot of communication with them still. Like they get a lot of their character actors from us because they want them to look like the characters. That sounds awful, but that's what they want.
Mhm.
And we've had like visits from them, from their ambassadors, and we get custodial. Like we had the custodial head from Japan, from Tokyo, come be really overwhelmed because they were in the birthplace of Disney custodial.
Oh my.
And it was just like you're probably better than we are.
Oh no.
But anyways, it's still technically a different company. I don't get a discount with them, and I don't get it for free. Sadness. And I can't transfer over to there. Sorry, tangent again. Some people like think that you ever watched the have you watched the 1955 Hallmark or
Yes.
1983 Great Performances?
Both, yes.
Yeah,
I reviewed both
I'm not
of
going to
those
say
too,
her name right. Yeah, with the she goes through the mirror first, and then she goes down the rabbit hole. So it's
No, I don't
kind of like
remember which. I don't remember. It's been a long time since we did those ones. It's been a few years. The main thing I
Yeah.
remember about the Great Performances one is that Alice was a smoker.
that one.
Did
Was
they
a weird
literally
one.
have her smoking on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Because she's really an actress understudy who's going to play Alice. It's weird. It's a very weird version. But going off it being a stage production and ignoring the weird direction they took for the TV version, which I don't know why they did that, because the stage production was not like that. Not at all. And they added like a weird love triangle between the actors too. It was a bizarre. Anyway, but that story device of merging Wonderland and Looking Glass, I found out that Paramount might have bought the movie rights for that so they could do it in 1933. And when Disney bought the book rights for Alice from them, they bought all their Alice book rights that they had, including possibly the movie rights for that one.
What, like Through the Looking Glass, or?
For the Galleon Alice, or however you say it, because
Like
that's a very
mashup?
specific, for that mashup kind of idea, but also just like the whole musical itself. So that might be why there's never been a musical version, like a movie version of it, just only TV.
I'm confused.
Are you talking about the version that has, what is the Duchess and the rabbit falling in love?
No, that's 31.
Okay, I don't know which one you're talking about then.
33 is
Probably
the
the
Paramount one with the
2020.
Hollywood stars.
Was that a musical?
No, it wasn't. So the thing is, Hollywood, if there's a slightest chance, like if something like just slightly relates to what they're planning to do, they will buy the rights to it to like avoid any potential copyrights lawsuits. So like for instance, when Disney did The Princess and the Frog Prince is a public domain fairy tale, but they bought the rights to a book that was written where I forget, but the princess turns into a frog.
Okay.
Even though the story-wise, it was nothing like what Disney ended up doing for their movie, but it was a different derivative idea, so they bought the rights to it. So that's kind of the same case here. Paramount bought the rights. I can't guarantee that it was the stage musical version, but Paramount bought the rights for that so they could do their merged version of Alice going through the looking glass and then going down the rabbit hole, even though they ended up not really doing the musical. And Disney ended up buying the rights for that too when they bought the rights for all their other Alice rights.
Okay.
Hollywood just buys rights left and right.
I guess I never thought about that. I figured if it was public domain, they didn't need to worry about that kind of thing.
No, derivatives are different. It's kind of like how you could sue somebody copying off the Disney Alice, right? Because they're copying off a copyrighted work. but you can't sue someone for making an Alice because that's public domain.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's a very fine line.
Yeah.
And most of them just like to be extra careful. Anyway, so that's I don't know where I was going with that. That's a little bit of trivia. All right, so what happens after the trails? We get the White Rabbit's house, right?
Yep.
Which we basically already discussed.
Well, I did want to talk about Bill, because Bill...
I am?
Bill is... He makes a cameo in The Great Mouse Detective.
He does.
But I also have my own theory that he inspired the lizard for Rescuers Down Under. I don't know this. This is just me thinking. But the lizard in Rescuers Down Under seems very Bill-like to me.
Maybe.
It's been a while. I didn't grow up with Rescuers Down Under, so and it's been a while since I've seen it.
That's my childhood. Part of my childhood.
I had the tape, but then our VCR ate it.
Oh, no.
We never got a replacement because, they did that in the Vault thing. We also, our Little Mermaid tape was also eaten. Rest in peace. So I didn't grow up with Little Mermaid either.
Tragedy. That's like the worst for VCRs. Like, I always hated when VCRs did that. It was always like such a pain. Like, you've got to like slowly try and pull it out so it doesn't rip.
Especially like with Disney movies at the time, because they were doing the in the vault thing. So if your tape got ruined, you couldn't buy a new one because they weren't selling it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I don't remember the lizard Rescuers Down Under, basically.
Well, he was a frilled lizard, but I just feel like, especially his limbs, his mannerisms seemed very, I don't know, he was kind of like Bill. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I can't say for sure, but in my head, it's an inspiration.
Well, they definitely had Bill on their mind because they did Great Mouse Detective a little bit before that. So
yeah.
I love Great Mouse Detective, by the way.
That was creepy.
I was terrified of Ratigan as a child.
Forget Ratigan, the bat. Upside down in the window coming to kidnap her.
What about in the pram?
What about... you know what? The window bothered me more. I'd kind of forgotten about the pram. No, thankfully I didn't develop a phobia of baby carriages. But I wouldn't be surprised if that movie was to blame for me being imagining monster in the dark window and yeah.
Not gonna lie, I'm glad I grew up with Great Mouse Detective. I would take it over Little Mermaid.
Oh, we still watched it. It just scared me.
Anyway, it's a Great Mouse Detective, underrated movie. And yes, Bill is in it as a henchman for Ratigan. It's awesome.
Bill's supposed to be a good guy. So is it literally Bill or just a Bill ripoff?
Disney is they do take characters from previous films and then put them into newer ones, but they're not really meant to be canonically there.
Yeah, it's not like the same universe. Like Bill moved to London to work for Ratigan. It's just he just decided that he had it
in for little girls after he got kicked out of a chimney.
Well, with this one he gets sneezed out, which is another thing I like about this scene. With this version, he gets sneezed out, which is another version I like, or another reason I like this version. She doesn't kick him out in this one.
I kind of like that Alice kicks him, but I don't know. I like my little girl characters having some nasty in them, I'm gonna kick you. But it wouldn't work to this one because of the way the house is designed, and I do really, really like how this house is designed, so I forget. Yeah, sneezing's fine. I like how her legs stick out.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I like about this scene more than other versions is the fact that it's not the rabbit's idea to burn his own house down. It's the dodo wants to burn the house down, the rabbit freaks out about it. And that seems like a more natural reaction than oh, there's a monster in my house, I don't know how to get it out. Well, I guess we'll just burn the whole thing down.
So this can be in the top 5 rabbit reactions along with the radio one. Oh, guess we better burn the house down.
Yeah.
We loved that.
Yeah, he's not very bossy in this one. I will say that's probably, I don't care too much for the dodo in the Disney Alice, but that is kind of a nice thing about having him in the scene, is that he escalates it, and it's kind of more comedic in this way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
Yeah. And then the way he's like, well, gotta do it myself at the end. Like, totally missing the point. So, I mean, it works. I approve.
You're right, though, and I don't know how much I thought about it, like with the rabbit. He's more of just a harried character.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to do his job, and he's totally stressed out because he has a horrible boss, and he's very logical.
I don't know what it is. I just don't feel very much for the Disney rabbit. I guess I wish he was cuter. I just don't want to hug him.
Yeah, like the 31 version.
Yeah, he's so cuddly.
That's the worst rabbit.
He might like to cuddle you.
Yeah, he might want to cuddle me, but I don't want to cuddle him.
Right before he eats you.
I do like my rabbits with a little bit of spite, I guess. I do kind of like them with that. So I like 72 with Michael Crawford. Okay, he's my favorite one. Adventures in Wonderland 2, which I don't know if you guys have seen, but the Disney TV show from the 90s.
I only have vague memories from childhood. I don't remember much of the show.
He's a very sensitive character, but he could be really sassy when he thinks somebody's stupid. So I don't know. I like my rabbits with a little bit of sass, even if it makes them a bit of a jerk. I like that. But anyway, I wish the Disney rabbit was cuter.
You just like spunky characters that have some sarcasm in them or something.
I guess so. Yeah, because I like when Alice kicks too. So
yeah, you want the fighting spirit.
Yeah, that's also my thing with Dorothy in the MGM movie. I hate that they took away her action to melt the witch. Because in the book, she's like, I don't like you, I'm going to throw water on you. And in the movie, it's an accident because she's just trying to help out. So don't take away my fighting spirit in these characters. I like them.
Yeah, and you just got done saying you wish that Tweedle Dum and Tweedle Dee had been fighting instead of reciting a poem.
Oh no!
You're learning about yourself. Just relax. I'll get out my notebook.
Yeah. I want other people to fight, and I just want to watch with popcorn, I guess.
But in a whimsical, colorful way.
Yes. I also really love the cookie design for the Eat Me cookies. I like that they changed them to cookies instead of cakes. I don't know. I'm here for it. Like, I know that's not faithful. I know that's not what Lewis Carroll was imagining. I don't care. I like the cookies. They're good.
Well, I also like that she eats a carrot instead of whatever rocks turn into cakes thrown into the house, too.
I kind of like the pebbles turning into food, though. I don't know. It feels very strange and dreamlike to me, so I do kind of like that.
It depends on the version, but I liked that they did the carrot scene in this one. I thought it was funny when she pulls up the rabbit and he thinks she's bitten his hand off.
There's some comedy in it. And actually, that does make me think about size changes in general in this version. They're much more, as an old friend used to say, they're corrected. So they make a lot more sense. Like when you shrink when you drink something, and you get bigger when you eat something, except in this case, the carrot made her shrink. So it's more like logical. Mm-hmm. Like, and she has both the mushroom pieces in the trial scene, so that makes her grow big and then small, instead of just growing big randomly.
Mm-hmm. They paid a lot more attention to the size. Like some versions have her walk from one scene where she's like human size, and then suddenly she's next to the caterpillar, and then suddenly she's going to the Duchess's house, and there's not really any super close attention paid to how big she was supposed to be.
Also, probably the beauty of animation is like what fits the best in this scene.
Yeah.
And just draw that. You don't have to... Yeah.
But I do kind of like the surrealness of consuming something and not knowing what's going to happen. Or even like just randomly growing bigger. I don't know. I've had dreams where things just like change perspective, where I'm just like, I'm suddenly... I don't know if I'd say I was ever like bigger while I was randomly dreaming a scene, but I'll like change perspectives, change where I was in a room. Maybe I'm up higher, so I'm looking down on the scene.
Was this before or after watching Alice adaptations? Like, I want to live that in my dreams.
Maybe. I don't know.
How do you feel about that, Jenna?
Turning into a therapy session. Anyway, I kind of like it being unexplained, but I see why people appreciate the attention to detail Disney has done with this. So yeah, just a interesting note that they keep it pretty consistently and they try to explain size changes.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of Pebbles becoming food, she actually like sees the food and takes it.
I guess we can move on to the next scene from here, because after she shrinks, she goes out and finds the talking flowers, which is another transplant from Through the Looking Glass.
No pun intended.
Actually, no pun was intended. It just happened. They also incorporate the interesting insects, too, which I liked, which you don't usually get. There's hardly any versions that have, like, the rocking horsefly. And
They had bread and butterflies, which were very cute.
yes. There was also the caterpillar and a dogapillar.
I think it makes more sense with the flowers than it does in the book, to be honest.
Yeah. It's a good melding of the scenes.
Well, since they're not having... Well, I guess they're sort of having a conversation / singing about it. Well, maybe more singing about it than anything.
Yeah, is part of the golden afternoon.
And so it's just all fun and whimsical and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do love talking flowers.
And did anyone else think that the caterpillar looked like Figaro?
That did not cross my mind. If I looked at
That
it, then
didn't
I'd
cross my mind
probably
either.
agree.
I thought it looked like Figaro.
I would probably agree with you because they drew their cats a certain way. Like how
Dinah
was
seemed very
meant-
Figaro-like, too.
Yeah, Figaro in the concept art, Dinah was basically Figaro, like pretty much a transplant from Pinocchio, and they changed her coloring later. So yeah, there's a very good likelihood that he's Figaro-ish. They only know how to do one cat, but they do it well. I think it's interesting that the Rose kind of turns out to be the only really nice person to Alice in this version.
Well, don't forget the bud.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, quiet bud.
I think she's pretty.
Yeah,
Quiet
bud.
But no, it's like they're so rude, but at the same time, the scene doesn't feel dragged out or oppressive. It's a fun scene.
There's other versions where it's not very fun.
Yeah, it's funny. It's not even that long of a scene usually, but I actually think the Disney version, you could actually argue it goes on longer than usual because of the song.
Mm-hmm.
But the
but it
song
works.
is engaging.
It's engaging.
And like the White Rose, it's so of the times and it's so pretty.
Yeah, it is pretty, and there's still. I also think it's a good mix of like pretty things and sight gags and like interesting things, like the rocking horsefly. You see the design for the flowers. You got like the little dog flower that barks at her at the end. So
It's whimsy
things
being
going
what
on.
it should be. Charming.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interest in the scene, and then we get conflict with it too, which is also good. And they're mean, so it's great.
But not enough to make you hate the flowers. Like I would go back and watch it again and enjoy it again.
Yeah, I like the flowers. A+ scene. I like it. I think it's probably the best adaptation of the Living Garden.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I like the rose personally, the red rose, because I also like how her leaves look like a crinoline skirt.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like Bud.
Yes. Love Bud.
But more recognition for Bud. I need some merch, please.
Go to Japan. They probably have something.
What you'll be
Surprisingly,
Googling
no.
after this.
Yeah, come on, Japan, step up. There's this obscure character you could be making merch for.
They could include the mom. Just have Bud and the mom.
That's true.
Well, anyway, yeah. Now I may have to look up Japanese Alice merch now. Okay.
Please do. Suffer with me.
What is the next scene after this?
Caterpillar, I believe.
It's one of the things that I like about how they've merged the stories, because it makes sense for her to be that size with the flowers before she goes onto the caterpillar.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think it's a very well done scene too. I will say I probably don't care too much for the caterpillar's voice actor.
I thought that little song with the vowels was cute. I'd forgotten about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think everything about the scene is pretty good. I especially like the smoke the things he does.
The smoke art.
Yeah, and the "Who are you?" with the smoke, and even though they're kind of forcing the "who" part, but I think it works really well. And I even love how AEIOU, and then he goes why, because sometimes why, like why are you doing that? What do you think about him turning to a butterfly?
I like that. I wish more versions did it, even though I don't think it's book accurate, but I like
It's
that.
not book accurate.
I thought it was a cool touch.
They didn't include the "Your Old Father William," did they? Or did they?
Oh, they gave
They
that to
did
the
in
Tweedles,
Tweedles.
as Alice is walking away.
Oh, okay.
As she was leaving, they started saying that one.
I actually liked him yelling at her in the end. I'm the mushroom!
Yeah.
And the way they, had him singing and his little oriental shoes or whatever. Like, it's cute.
Oh, I didn't even think about what the shoes were. They are kind of like...
Middle Eastern Oriental.
They were gonna give him a flower, like, umbrella parasol thing
Why?
to like increase that vibe.
Okay.
Because parasols are a thing that are associated with that.
What, like with smoking the hookah or what?
Yeah.
So that you're shaded and comfortable while you're smoking?
Yeah, hot country, I guess, where it comes from. I don't know. I don't understand why people associate things with things.
Well, that is...
A hookah is an Indian thing. I think that it was probably included in the book because of the whole Indian influence, is like Great Britain was like taking over India at that point.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of influencing going on with that, with the Victorians and taking things from Indian culture.
But hookah isn't just in India. It's also...
Yeah, but I think that's probably why it was in this version.
Okay, but why the shoes?
Well, that's probably... At least for this version, they probably were trying to make that connection even more clear.
Because I remember,
but I didn't even think of that.
I think it was Rick Steves in Iran smoking hookah with a guy at an outside cafe or something. So it's not. I feel like we need a quick Google, just a quick Google to know where hookah is prevalent and originated. It's not as tangenty as probably Saturday, but.
I just googled hookah, and it brought me to a hookah bar in Omaha.
It's in the old market.
I didn't know the old market had a hookah bar.
Yeah, well, since we always take you there for your birthday.
Now you got a place to go.
Apparently.
If we needed a prop real quick for an hour.
Can we just record here really quick?
They might be understanding, especially if we showed up in costume at a slow time of the day.
Yeah.
What you got, Jonathan?
It's talking mostly about India, and it says the widespread use of the Indian word hookah in the English language is a result of the colonization of British India.
So you're basically spot on with that.
Yeah.
So at least the word.
And it is in other countries too, but a lot of it is talking about India.
Okay.
Either
way, they made him an exotic little character. They didn't just have him smoking a hookah.
Yeah.
It's a good caterpillar. I would rate him an A. Okay. I can't really think of another caterpillar I would prefer, to be honest. I feel like most caterpillar scenes are pretty dull.
Kind of, yeah.
It can be.
Well, I did really like the 85 version. That's one of the few scenes in that I really liked. With Sammy Davis Jr. exploding and turning into old Father William.
And let's dance, Alice. Yeah. You're old Father William, the young man said. That's Sammy Davis Jr., though. We can't all be Sammy Davis Jr.
What is the next scene? Because is it like the Cheshire Cat? Because it's interesting that they left out Pig and Pepper out of this, and it's okay that they left out Pig and Pepper because it's so odd and child abuse and all that. It can be a fun scene, but it's fine that they left it out of Disney.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not a fan of the Duchess scene.
Oh, it can be fun.
They were considering it. There's an extra on the DVD.
Like the 60s one where a dude played the Duchess?
Oh, yeah.
That was great.
I feel like when you go book accurate for the Duchess, it's hard to go through. I feel like it really slogs if you go book accurate. So I'm not a fan of the scene usually. Especially like if you have a crying baby, it's just, oh my gosh. I'm not a purist. People are always like, "You're a purist," and I'm like, "I'm not. I'm really not."
Well, before the Cheshire Cat, there is the bird and serpent scene.
Oh yes, which
I hate the pigeon.
you would think would get left out, but they did actually include it. But they didn't give her a weird neck though, did
They didn't really
no,
do it.
That's the one thing that bothers me about it. I like that they included it because hardly any version ever includes the scene.
It doesn't make sense that she's called a serpent.
Yes. The reason that she's called a serpent is because her neck has grown so much longer than the rest of her body that the bird just thinks she's a snake.
It also makes sense for the bird to be obnoxious, but on the other hand, the bird was obnoxious. So
yeah, she gets on your nerves. I think I would have actually probably forgiven the bird being obnoxious if they went all the way with the snake neck.
Yeah, maybe have
because it's animation
neck undulating a little bit, or
if
something.
anything. If you're gonna ask me like what's the best way to do this scene, I would say animation. They didn't do it.
Sure, they had the opportunity,
and they just I guess they kind of exaggerated her neck a little bit, but I don't know why they didn't go all the way.
Not enough that she was serpent-like
to make the point.
That's kind of like how they handled all the transformations. They keep her proportions for the most part.
Mm-hmm. There aren't very many that have her growing disproportionately.
Which is a shame, I think, because it's animation again. They could have done a lot of things with that, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they thought it'd just be too much. I don't know.
Maybe they just wanted her to look cute for the whole thing.
Yeah, I get that's probably. I like the Cheshire Cat. They do a lot of really cool things with him. I think Sterling Holloway is excellent because Sterling Holloway has that like really sweet velvet voice.
Well, it's a good
But he
thing.
can also be a tiny bit sinister if he wants to be.
His Cheshire Cat has an edge to it.
I feel like I liked the Cheshire Cat less than I used to, and maybe part of that's just the way they designed the face, but Sterling Holloway has a really great voice, so...
I love his animation, too.
Did you also know that Sterling Holloway was the frog footman in the 1933 Alice?
Yes. I think we figured that out when we watched that one, but I don't remember. I don't think we talked about it because we weren't doing Wonderland Wednesday together at that point. I think I just made a short video, so I don't remember if I mentioned it, but we figured that out, and that was a really interesting thing because we're so used to him just being a voice, but to have him in a live action thing.
And you can't even really hear his voice in it. He's just blocked by this ugly mask head thing. So you don't even really hear that it's him. So
he would have been pretty young.
Yeah, he was pretty young, but he was actually in that costume.
Sure.
So it's fun that he's been in two Alices. I think he definitely enjoyed the cat more. Have you guys also seen when he and Catherine did the Fred Waring show in character?
Yes, I think we did.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, and she sounded like she had laryngitis or something. You remember?
Yes, that's it. He's having a lot of fun in that.
And was obligated to be there, and she's struggling probably.
She tried.
Yeah, I'm guessing that she had a head cold, but yet was still scheduled to do it.
Yeah, it was live TV, and they probably had something going on the next day. They weren't going to like reschedule it. So poor thing, but she did pretty well. But I mentioned it because Sterling Holloway does an excellent job, and he doesn't even seem to care that he's in a silly costume.
Some don't.
Yeah, that's the mark of a true actor. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing. So he's great. I love the visual things they do with the Cheshire Cat too.
Yes.
The
spiraling away of his stripes.
Yeah, they go all out with all the stuff they could do with him, and it really works so well because it's animation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking about like the drunk elephants or whatever, and it's like, well, yeah, you can have fun with a Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, exactly. He's also pink.
I didn't think of the pink elephants in this scene. I thought of them in the card scene later on.
I
wasn't thinking about the pink elephants while we were watching. It's just coming to me now. But
I mean, it's kind of the same like visual surrealness.
It fits the character perfectly.
I think this is like a top grade Cheshire Cat. I also like that you don't really know whether to trust him or not because he sounds kind of sweet, but also there is an edge there, so you shouldn't trust him.
And he later frames her.
Yeah, and not even because he's evil. Just it's purely because he thinks it's funny.
He just thinks it's fun.
Yeah. So there's he's just a chaotic demon in this world, and it's fun.
He's like Loki, just an agent of chaos.
Yeah, he's just like, want to see her get really angry? And Alice is like, no, no, I don't. Why would you do this? He's just having the time of his life. He's kind of the villain of the movie, really, when you think about it.
As opposed to the Queen?
Yeah. I mean, the Queen's just being manipulated by the Cheshire Cat.
Oh, is that what happened?
Come on, like, none of that would have happened if it wasn't for him. He's the real mastermind.
Well, tell that to the 3 cards who got dragged away and they weren't saved in this version.
True, that's true. That is the really funny thing about this.
I think they would say the Queen is the villain.
Yeah. They're supposed to be pardoned, but the Disney version never pardons them. You never know.
I don't think there's any explanation, because usually they'll say, oh, nobody ever gets executed.
They didn't say that in this one.
Yeah, they didn't.
So for all we know, they're dead.
And yet you don't feel sorry for them.
I feel like this is probably...
You just move.
Yeah, you just move. Even though they have a fun song, you just... Whatever. You move on. I feel like that's probably where a lot of people get the idea that the cards do die from the Queen of Hearts. Like, they think she actually does execute them, because the Disney version never says they don't die.
There you go, people. You heard it from us.
Yeah. I will say that the Burton version is kind of clever with that, because they kind of merged the two. She does execute people, but it's explained away because she executed her husband, who was the one who pardoned people.
Oh, that's right.
So you kind of get both.
Yeah.
That's really dark.
It is.
I remember the moat.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where they explain it, that the king was executed, which I think would go over a lot of people's heads, but if you're an Alice book nerd...
No pun intended.
Yeah. Over their heads, like Alice jumps over the heads in the moat, man. You know, but yeah, so it's but it was definitely put in there for Alice nerds who were like, the Queen doesn't execute people. But anyway, going back to the Cheshire Cat, he's the real mastermind, the real villain, but we treat him like he's not because we just like him too much.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't have much else to say. He's grade A Cheshire Cat. I can't think of any improvements for him.
And then the next is the Tea Party, which we've already discussed, so I don't know if you want to discuss anything more about
We
that.
talked about most of it. We didn't touch on the Unbirthday song, which...
Iconic.
As far as I know, the Unbirthday song is from this movie and only this movie.
Yes.
I feel like I've seen it in another version. I was like, they ripped that off the Disney version.
But the concept would be from the book, I believe.
Yeah, the concept is from Humpty Dumpty and Through the Looking Glass, which...
Oh, that's right.
Which is good, because I don't think anybody really likes Humpty Dumpty. I would be surprised.
So they took it and made it charming.
Yeah, and they gave the reason for the Tea Party, which some people might say that's unneeded, but I think it adds a layer of fun to it.
Like, they could have given the explanation of, from the book, but this is probably a lot more fun for kids to watch instead of him being trapped in time.
Hatter does end up killing time still, so I'm still in there. So, I mean, I do like the whole Tea Party being trapped in a time loop kind of thing, but I do think the Unbirthday Party works. It works. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
I love Edwin. He's one of the best Hatters.
He is.
I'll agree on that. And the Dormouse is cute.
Yeah. Jerry Colonna as the March Hare doesn't get enough appreciation. I think he got a little overshadowed by Edwin here, especially since they threw out the script
Probably.
for his improv. So Jerry just was kind of stuck, like, going off of him. That's probably why I would have liked to see the live action reference, because I feel like they probably had a good chemistry on set.
Yeah. Next scene would be Told You Would. This is where the animators just kind of made up everything.
Yeah, we did kind of already touch on this too.
Yeah, but wasn't that dog in the book somewhere? Am I making that up?
Oh, there is a giant puppy.
Well, no, I mean the random... Maybe I'm making that up. Maybe I just want that to be in the book subconsciously.
The sweeping dog?
I don't remember it.
Yes.
Nah, that's not
Either
in the book.
way, the creatures here can be really fun, like the mom and the babies, and you love the hammerbirds.
Yes, the hammerbirds are adorable, and I want one.
The mome rafts.
Those are cute.
They look like something out of the Muppets.
By the way, the mirror bird, you can buy that in Japan.
Of course.
Of course.
Nice.
Yeah, get yourself a vanity mirror bird.
Nice.
So
I don't know how I feel about that, but that's kind of cool.
This is cool. So there's a lot of like good character design in this scene.
Yes. There's a lot of cuteness.
I probably would have I like this part of the scene, like the characters. I just don't care for the song. Like that part, I'm like, eh.
So you can enjoy the cuteness, but you'd rather leave the song.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, she makes them cry into nothing. So
Well,
she kills them with sadness.
I don't know how real they were to begin with, so...
The crescent moon turning to Cheshire Cat smile is pretty cool, though.
Also, I like how they did the door. Because you know how there is normally a door in the wood, but the fact that they had him pull a lever and it opens downward.
Yeah, instead of like a door.
I liked that touch.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on a mini tangent rant about Jim Cummings' modern impersonation of Sterling Holloway's characters. Because he does like Caw for Jungle Book, he does Cheshire Cat, and he does Winnie the Pooh. But he does them all the same. Like, it's literally just a Sterling Holloway impression. And I'm like, no, Sterling, like, did different things for these characters. When he does the Cheshire Cat for modern things, it just sounds like Winnie the Pooh. Whereas Sterling...
I don't think I've heard Jim Cummings do the Cheshire Cat. What did he do the Cheshire Cat in?
He does, like, he fills in for if they want it. Like, for instance, he did the Odd song extra. He's done a couple commercials, I think. Basically, whenever they just want a character voice, they have, like, standbys to come in.
How old is he?
How old is Jim Cummings? I don't know.
Okay.
I would guess 60s.
Probably. Okay. He mostly does Winnie the Pooh, though. That's what they mostly have him do.
He does a lot.
He does a lot.
He's really prolific.
Yeah.
Like, he does a bunch for Star Wars now, too.
Oh, yeah.
He actually does one of my favorite modern Star Wars characters, Hondo the Pirate. He's hilarious.
If you like Star Wars and you think he's fun, he did a table read with of Star Wars, the Star Wars script with Winnie the Pooh as Darth Vader.
I think I saw like a clip. I don't think I've seen a whole thing, but I think I've seen a clip where somebody like animated something.
It's from a convention. It's a panel. I highly recommend. He ad-libs with Pooh's lines in it. So like, someone comes.
If there ever was, if there ever was a rabbit trail, this is it.
Yeah. So like,
all of a sudden we have Winnie the Pooh, Darth Vader from the 1950s. Alice.
Yeah. So if you get like he gets like bad news or something, and he goes, "Oh bother."
That sounds adorable.
Yeah. So I recommend that, but I'm just pointing out that he misses that the Cheshire Cat has an edge to it. So we're on to the Painting the Roses Red, which is a great song.
Sure.
It's one of the iconic songs of the movie.
Oh, here we go. Since you know so much.
Oh, yes.
I wondered, is this a political statement of red versus white?
Some people believe that it's a commentary on the War of Roses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Was that like 1600s?
I don't know my English history very well. I did have a history class on England, but I've forgotten all of it. It's a lot of history.
Sure, so I'm not necessarily nuts thinking that there may be an extra reference layered into that.
Though I think if you really like look in, because one side was like white roses and the other side was red roses, but when you really look into it, it doesn't really make sense. Like in terms of Carol trying to purposely reference that. As far as I could tell, there's no evidence for Carol meaning that, but some people like to think that's what it is.
I might be one of those people.
Yeah, and you can. I don't know enough. I don't know enough to like actually talk more about it.
I mean, either way, she is the Red Queen, so that could just be what he was thinking of. No, the Red Queen's going to want red roses. So.
And it's the idea of painting roses is just ridiculous too. So it's I think it's more that. It's kind of like how people think Walrus and the Carpenter represents Buddha and Jesus.
What?
Wait, you never heard that before?
I've not heard
No.
that one.
What on earth?
Yeah, people think the Walrus and the Carpenter represent Buddha and Jesus.
So is
Did
the
Buddha
walrus?
eat all of Jesus's oysters at some point in somebody's made up history?
Yeah,
Wait, what?
so they think
So-
it's a religious commentary, but it's really not. Lewis Carroll just basically told Tenniel, you could have a walrus or a butterfly or something else, and Tenniel's like, I'll pick the walrus. All right, here we go. You know, so Carroll didn't mean anything by it.
Quick question: do they think that the walrus is Buddha?
Yes.
Okay. If Buddha knew that, he might be insulted.
Yeah,
But
I
okay.
think it's a bit insulting to Buddha, considering walrus takes so many. It doesn't really make any sense, but
No, it doesn't. That is one of the most far out things that I've ever heard.
yeah. But some people believe that, and I think it's like quoted in a movie. It's in a movie, so some people, they don't. People get it from that movie. They don't actually read.
Well,
the poem.
somebody had to think of it to put it in the movie, which I guess shows you how the human mind works. That it would just go that far. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not convinced that it's actual commentary War of the Roses. But
That's
there's
fine.
yeah, there's stuff out there that people talk more about that and why they think that. It's probably one of the less popular theories, though.
Are there more theories?
Oh my gosh, there's so many more theories. Like one time I went to a conference and it was this guy talking about how Alice in Wonderland was actually a bunch of references to medieval England, and it made no sense. And we were all just like staring at him like he was crazy, and so that was fun. But anyway, so there's already. You ever heard about the cannibalism theory?
Do we
No.
want to know the cannibal? Are we going to
do
be
you?
scarred now?
Do you want to
Well,
know?
hey,
what?
we watched the Mad Hatter die. I suppose we can
All right, here we go. All right.
buckle up, Jonathan.
Some people believe because Alice eats so much that it represents that Lewis Carroll wanted to eat his many brothers and sisters.
What?
That he wanted to eat who?
His brother and sisters. Because
Why would they think
the
that?
Duchess's baby also turns into a pig, which can be eaten. So
Yeah, but I think that's a commentary on like children growing up with bad parents and turning into brats or something.
Yeah,
I
it
could
is.
see that.
it's more about that. But they go
So,
with
like,
cannibalism.
how many weirdos does this community attract? Like,
There's a reason why I've stepped away from the larger community. Let's just say that.
how large is this community?
It's very large and it's mostly nuts. It's so you got another thing about the cannibalism theory is what was kind of hilarious about it was this one guy who keeps editing it in on the Lewis Carroll page on Wikipedia or the Alice in Wonderland pages. You just read the discussion on Wiki of people going like, it has nothing to do with anything. The guy's like, yes, it does. I'm putting this section back in.
I think somebody needs to ban him from being a Wikipedia editor.
I think they eventually did. Like, it's not on there anymore, but, like, basically for a very long period of time, when you looked up Alice in Wonderland on Wikipedia, there was a section about cannibalism, like it was a valid theory.
So does he have a website?
I don't know. I haven't
you
heard from him
haven't
in a while.
purposefully hunted him down?
No.
I think this is part of the Alice community that she's trying to distance herself from.
Then there's the
not-
guy who wrote a book convinced that Lewis Carroll confessed that he's Jack the Ripper because when you anagram passages from Alice, it turns into confessions, even though it doesn't. Complete nonsense.
This
But-
person needs a hobby.
Yeah,
I think
A
that is
really
their
different-
hobby.
that is their
Yeah, but
hobby.
like a different hobby. Wow, there's so many worthy hobbies besides looking for weird things in Alice in Wonderland.
The one that upset me the most recently was someone who was convinced that, okay, you know how in the book, in the caucus race, they all must have prizes?
Mm-hmm.
So Alice gives all the birds comfits, and they're like, Alice has to have a prize. And she says, I only have a thimble left. And so the dodo presents the thimble to Alice. Well,
Which is cute.
yeah, somebody thinks that's their wedding. Because the dodo represents Dodson, because his name is Dodson. Yeah, and the dodo is meant to represent him on the boat trip.
Is it actually supposed to represent him?
It is actually supposed to represent him.
But there's no intimation that this is anything but something cute.
Yeah, and they're also like, it's not just him. There's also, the duck is a friend who was on the original boat trip named Duckworth. The Lori is her sister Lorena. The eaglet is Edith. So this wasn't like just the two of them. Though he also said...
But that's real.
Yeah, so
okay.
These are real connections that he purposely did put in. But this person's like, the thimble is a ring, because we all know they represent kisses, even though Peter Pan was written much later. And also,
maybe we should just be thankful that maybe they're so distracted with this that they're not coming up with political theory. maybe it's preventing them from worse things.
I got one more part of this though. All right, so in the illustration where the dodo is giving Alice the thimble, the duck is seen in between them, and the person's like, well, Duckworth was a parson, so he's officiating the marriage. There you go. This is why
they really want this to be true.
Yeah. They published this in the Lewis Carroll Society of North America magazine, so I was like, I'm out. Goodbye, guys. Like, I can't believe this. Anyway, so
like I say, they could be coming up with global and political theories, and maybe this is distracting them from wreaking havoc in the world. So we probably need to counter blessings.
Yeah, okay, that's true. It could be worse.
But you can just back away slowly and just enjoy yourself and away from it all.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. I just enjoy it more privately now.
Sure.
And also, like, because a big part of my thing was I was, like, trying to educate people about, like, the evidence that he was into adult women.
That he's not a weirdo?
Yeah, that he's not a weirdo, essentially. And people didn't want that. They didn't want him to not be a weirdo. And I was
just probably
like,
thought it was exciting to think of somebody being a criminal or a pervert.
Yeah.
Which, maybe that's, I said it.
It says people, more about what people want to see, which...
Like, people are drawn to dark things, and...
Yeah, goodness knows. I like to watch crime stories and stuff, so it's like, I know, but I also don't like... If I'm faced with evidence that contradicts what I thought something was, I'm like, oh, that's really interesting that it would end up that way. That is essentially what I did. I was like, how did this happen? But people don't want that. They want him to be in love with the child, and it's really creepy. And I'm out. Have fun, y'all. Instead
of just enjoying the story, which is very whimsical and fun.
Yeah, just enjoy the story. And also, like, stop trying to explain why it's a creative story. It's just, some people have imaginations. We don't need to excuse it with drugs or, him being autistic or something. Just enjoy the story.
And maybe get some of those historical references in there, because, like, I have a sister who thinks it's so weird, and I think she does still think it's weird, but I've, taken the time to explain, well, this is what this would have been. Like, this poem would have been well known, but it's not well known to us, and this is what this, it's like, there are things in there that make more sense once you know, and you probably know a lot more of those details than I do. And then I had another friend who thought, well, isn't that magic in there? It's like,
magic?
And I don't know if I had the right explanation at the time. It's like, no, this is a dream. This is not, it's not like Harry Potter or anything like that.
It was like
a dream.
Magic fantasy thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It is kind of interesting. Like, Alice was a parody on, like, so many things they would have experienced at the time, and it outlived the things it was parodying.
And so people get the whimsy and they get the weirdness, but they don't necessarily get the reference. Yeah.
So the roses could be, like, another one of those things, especially when you're not English and you don't have English history.
But in the end, it's really not important. Like, that is not my life to know what is the truth about this scene,
I just find that stuff interesting.
Right.
I can respect.
We can enjoy it
people
either
who
way.
I can respect discussion about whether this theory about the roses might be plausible or not.
Well, it's less weird than a lot of things, apparently.
Yeah, it's much more respectable.
Yes.
But anyway, roses are being painted. It's a lot of fun, and you ever notice that they splatter paint everywhere, but it never, like, she never has a bloody pinafore?
I thought that as I was watching it the other night. I was like, they're splashing so much paint and none of it's sticking around. It's all disappearing.
It's the beauty of animation.
Yeah.
Kind of like the explosion that doesn't kill anybody.
Everybody gets on American McGee's Alice for having blood on her apron. She was just painting the roses, guys. That's all.
Once you transition into the cards and just the lighting is interesting and it's just so colorful that I think it's a kind of unique to Disney. Just the high contrast in color along with the dark color, but with the bright colors and the formation.
I think that's why it reminded me of the pink elephant scene.
Oh, I should mention Mary Blair.
Yes.
We have to talk about Mary Blair.
Yeah. And I feel like she does, even though she is a very popular artist, I think she needs to be recognized even more. Because, like, when you think about it, Disney Studios was a very masculine power, like, it was mostly males. Only males could be animators. But all their style was dictated by a woman. And that's pretty cool for the time, I think.
Yeah.
Did you ever see our episode or episodes talking about the South American trip?
Yes.
And Mary Blair. I keep, every once in a while, I think about the art that she did in one of those where it was, I think it was kind of a jungle. I feel like there was a train and
Yeah.
flowers and just that dark background, and it's so cool. I would love to see that again.
I think that was concept art for one of the Three Caballeros films.
I want to say that one was in Saludos Amigos. I think that was the Brazil sequence.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, her Alice concept art, it's a lot of really dark backgrounds and then pops of color. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely what's going on.
I mean, it helps to make this film unique, and it also helps to make it fun.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Like with the flamingos and the hedgehogs, I love how colorful they are, and that they made them different colors.
It's very distinct. It's a distinct style too. Like, if anybody, and there have been animated Alice's after this, not to this scale, but if anybody did make another full, like, real, like, animated movie, the style wouldn't be like Disney's just because of how the art is. And I really love Mary Blair's touch on this.
And I really like how much they did with the cards, because they didn't just have them show up. They had them,
shuffled and
and
they were actual
just
cards.
All the different formations that they did with them.
They use animation to their benefit with the cards.
Right, and it's fun.
Yeah. I would say these are probably the best cards. Well, besides the Svankmajer stop motion where it's actually cards. Those are cool too. But I would say these are some of the top cards.
Definitely.
Good flamingos, though I also do like the 1999 flamingos. But because it's animation, like, they're able to actually do stuff with the flamingos, and you got the one who's like making the fool out of Alice, which is great.
I love her facial expressions in that scene.
We were talking about her not having enough fun, but in this one, I do kind of enjoy her spunk in that one, because she's just, like, done with this flamingo. She's just like, I'm gonna choke you, I'm gonna kill you when they're not looking, And the hedgehogs are cute too. And I feel like the croquet itself is, like, really fun because it's animation, so you have all these things going on with the cards.
Shout out to the king.
Yeah.
Hooray! Who really wanted to be recognized. And the king.
I love that.
He's pretty cute on this one.
Yeah. I mean, he does take a big back seat to the queen, but I kind of like it, to be honest.
He's actually pretty fun, because the fact that they decided to make him so little with that little meek voice, because he usually is kind of a slow or meek character, and the way they emphasize that with his whole design and voice and everything.
I also like how he's almost like her little pet.
Yeah,
and she, like, pets his head at one point.
Pats him on the head. Like,
but
good little king.
It also, their relationship is interesting because You think that maybe she just married him and ignores him, but she does listen to him when he asks for a trial.
Mm-hmm.
They genuinely seem to like each other,
Yeah.
Yeah,
oddly enough.
yeah. So it's
Opposites attract.
Yes, yes.
it's a cute relationship. The queen is wonderful. Did you know this is the same voice actress for the fairy godmother in Cinderella?
Yes. Verna Felton.
Yeah,
Love her.
isn't that amazing?
Yes.
She sounded so nice, and then she sounds like, it's great to have that kind of range.
One of my favorite pieces of trivia about her, I've probably said this in other podcasts, but I love that her first role for Disney was one of the elephants in Dumbo, and her last role for Disney was one of the elephants in A Jungle Book.
She liked elephants. What can we say, man? Queen is kind of a huge character too.
In more ways than one.
Yeah. So I really enjoy how she's like larger than life. She's a villain, but she's not like full on a villain either. If you know what I mean. Like she's not like she doesn't have like villainous schemes.
Yeah. She just wants her own way.
Yeah. She's just like an overgrown
hothead.
Yeah, an overgrown brat, So,
Yeah.
and very easily manipulated into getting angrier. Which I can see why the cat likes to make her angry, because he can run away. And it probably is very funny to watch. Anyway, so I really like her, and I like the chemistry between her and Catherine as well, in a way, because they do kind of have a chemistry when she is even-tempered. And then suddenly Alice doesn't know where she stands. She's a volcano. So I like it. Maybe it's over the top to some people.
I mean, the queen has to be over the top. Like, that's the whole point of her character. You've got to be over the top with the queen.
She's not as over the top in the book, which is fair. But, I mean, it's fun. So, let's do it,
I don't know how much I thought about it, but it's okay that they left out the mock turtle and the griffin and everything out of this. Not that they couldn't have made a whole song and dance out of that and made it very comfortable, but I mean,
I think they were planning on using them at some point, because I've seen art of them, and the mock turtle is adorable. Like, it would have been the best mock turtle design from any version.
And yet here we are.
They actually used him in a Jello. Disney did commercials with Alice, and they used him in a Jello commercial for Alice. So,
okay.
I know it's random.
Flavor?
I don't know if there is a flavor.
Turtle flavor.
They just talk about Jello.
Flavor. Like, that would be fitting for the 50s if they had mock turtle flavored Jello for the home cook.
I don't think they did.
We could make it a thing.
But anyway, I'm not too bothered by them skipping the mock turtle and the griffin. I feel like it's a very hit and miss duo.
Yeah, it depends on.
It depends on how it's done. Yeah.
Some versions are not good.
Yeah. Sometimes they could really drag on. So I respect what Disney's doing here, where they're like, actually, let's just go to the trial scene. I think it's better story-wise, especially because, and I like this change, a lot of people would probably be like, what the heck, Jenna? But I like that Alice is on trial. I feel like it involves her more in the story.
Yes.
Instead of just being a witness, so I really like it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There's more on the line.
Like, I'm all for book accurate versions, but I like a lot of the changes they did, and I liked this change too.
It worked.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a very good reason why other versions ended up copying Disney's idea with this. It's a good story idea for a movie if she's on trial.
Mm-hmm.
So since she's on trial, it makes sense to skip the mock turtle and the griffin.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually part of why I think that's why David Hall ended up moving them earlier in his story treatment. Because he was the one who came up with, in his story treatment, she was on trial and she was going to be beheaded in the guillotine. So it made sense to move them. That's the 1939 version. That didn't get made. It's grotesque. Walt didn't like it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she meets them on the beach when she washes up instead. So anyway, I think it was fine to skip them.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah. And I think the trial's a lot of fun. It's good. I think it's well paced.
The March Hare gets a little bit more to do.
Yeah, he does. Edwin did not really get to throw out the script in this part, so it's because it did have to be more scripted.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still suitably crazy. I like that they bring the Mad Tea Party participants as witnesses. because they definitely weren't there. And I like that she whispers for the dormouse and then yells immediately afterwards.
Yes, I like that too.
Well, I like how she's like, "What's your evidence?" And it goes twinkle twinkle. That's very important. Write that down. Yes, it's inaccurate to the book again, but I feel like they took a lot of the great parts from the book and mixed them together pretty well.
For the most part, I'd say I don't care about the liberties that they took.
I really don't. A lot of people do.
They made it work.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works. I think it's all right. This is my controversial opinion. I think it has the spirit of the books. So
yes, that's what I've said all along. It may not be book accurate, but it really captures the spirit of the books.
There's also a lot to be said for keeping a story moving.
Yes.
I like to think sometimes while I'm watching adaptations, how would Lewis Carroll think of this? And while I do think he'd probably think it was obnoxiously American. He would probably think that, but I think he would appreciate some of the changes from a story viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I just think he would like what I like, and I like this one. So,
when did he die?
Lewis Carroll, 1898.
So he would have been amazed. He might have been annoyed, but he would have also been amazed.
Yeah, he just barely missed the first movie, so it's a shame.
Mm.
It would have been neat if he could have seen if he lived long enough to see the 1903 version of Alice.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
He would have lost his mind. If he would lived during the film's days, he'd be all over film because he loves photography and stories. So that's both in one.
Right.
But anyway, I'm rambling. So I think he would have been okay with these changes. I think it's in the spirit of the books. I think it's way more important to engage the audience rather than just making book fans happy. And I'm sorry if book fans hate me. I do love the book.
You're not listening to them anymore, Jenna. You walked away.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy Alice how you want to enjoy Alice. And if they want to join you, well, maybe they can.
Yeah, true. I guess because of that, I'm also more appreciative of how other people enjoy Alice. And there are some people who don't like this version, and they're valid too. It's not perfect.
Maybe.
Maybe. They're wrong, but they're valid.
It's okay to have some... I don't think it's a perfect version either, but it's one of the best versions that you're gonna find.
Yeah.
I will a lot of people will say it lost its the English flavor of the original story. Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. After just watching the 85 version, that felt so American, even though they had more than one British person on it. And I don't get that same feeling of, wow, this is so American watching this one. It probably helps that Alice has an accent, but no, I don't have that same feeling that I did with the 85 one. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Mm.
I guess that's not my complaint. So...
Yeah, I think the original reviews were too harsh on this movie. And are we? Do we still want to say anything about the trial scene?
Well, I guess we could wrap it up with it. It doesn't end with her having the cards fly up at her. She's being chased.
I do like the card chase.
Yeah, they kind of do a flashback through all the different scenes. She's racing through the hedge maze, the caucus race, pool of tears, which is... I think it's tea in the end part.
I like the joining in the cup of tea. I like that part.
One of the things that I appreciate about this scene is that it really does play into what a dream is like. If you're being chased, how she's struggling to get away, trying to get back to herself. And does it slow down a little bit for her?
I think so.
The way...
when she's trying to get to the door, I think.
If you were genuinely struggling in a dream. So it's creative and kind of nice how they thought that through and included that. It wouldn't be fun to live it, but yeah, kudos to them.
And I think it makes a better visual climax with just the cards flying up at her, to be honest.
And I appreciate the fact that they are pointing to this being a dream, because that hasn't always happened in adaptations. And I think it's good to look at this story as a dream.
Mm.
But yeah.
And I do think the rest of the movie hasn't pointed at it being a dream as much. And which in a way is kind of a dream self in itself, right? When you're dreaming, you don't think about how you're having a dream. It's only when things get really messed up, you're like, wait, I'm dreaming. which is essentially what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, applause to them for that.
It's a good climax. So yeah, I think the contemporary reviews were pretty harsh on this movie. Like the Alice purists didn't like it. Of course they didn't, because they never like anything new, unless it's like line for line from the book. Looking at you guys, you know who you are. Calling you out. But anyway, and then I don't think it resonated with a lot of like normal audiences either, because it's not like a traditional story structure. You really just have to like enjoy it for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what ended up happening to it later. It kind of like got pushed aside because people were like, I didn't like that as much as like Cinderella.
She didn't have a boyfriend.
She didn't fall in love. Well, I mean, they're like, she didn't like conquer over anything, I guess. So it got pushed aside a little bit. Then it was the first Disney movie shown on TV.
Okay.
I think that helped it a little bit because Walt didn't care too much about people singing that on TV. And then I don't know if you guys are aware, Disney movies were re-released like every decade at the time. So in like the 70s, it was re-released.
Like in theaters or?
Yes, in theaters.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was really popular in that re-release because people would get high and then go see it.
And Fantasia.
Yeah, and Fantasia.
Both this and Fantasia.
It was
because it was such an experience.
Like they do drugs and go see Fantasia, or?
Yeah.
Marijuana.
Yeah.
They would just kind of like zone out and watch all the colors.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Alice was a very popular movie to do this to at the time. Like college towns would actually like put on special screenings of Alice in Wonderland.
Did anybody bring a hookah?
Maybe, probably in the smaller screenings in college towns.
I mean, if they're going to be doing that, they might as well get the actual experience.
Boy.
And Alice has always been kind of a good movie for Disney to test things on. Like it was one of the, if not the first, it was one of the first movies they put on VHS. And then they would have the TV screenings of it like most often. So it didn't do well at the time. It did well over time because of that.
All these little re-releases in different ways helped build its popularity to what it is now.
Yeah, and people grow up with it.
And they did that because they didn't care about the film as much. So they're like, this isn't as big of a gamble to try this out in this medium. Is that what they were thinking? Or
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alice was very popular for them to test Alice out in new formats. So like, because like before they had VHS, there was like Betamax and Laserdisc.
Okay.
And Alice would, if not the first one of like the first movies they would release just to test the market, because they didn't have a lot of faith in re-release. Because let's say you would re-release Snow White in theaters, that's going to be huge. Heck, that would even be huge today, to be real, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
that's a lot of money.
Didn't they do that in the 90s?
Yeah.
And I think my mom took my sisters to see it, and I was really little and didn't go.
Yeah, it was. There was a big Snow White thing in the 90s, but I think it was for it being released on VHS, because I remember it being like really big deal when they gave me the VHS tape. And I was like, okay, I've never seen this movie, but okay.
Of Snow White or
Snow White? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they want to protect those movies more. They didn't want like Snow White being easily accessible because money. They wanted to test that it would do well. So they would use Alice, like lesser movies that they don't mind. There's not a lot of hype for them in the first place. So it's okay if it fails, if that makes sense.
Which you would almost think that they would put out something more well-known to see if it would grab people's attention. But hey, whatever.
Disney was very protective of their properties at the time. I mean, they still are.
Which may have partly started with Alice.
Yeah.
Don't mess with my stuff.
Alice was part of it all along. So yeah, basically, this is kind of the movie that popped out of the shadows for Disney classics. I would say it's one of their most popular movies now from the golden era, or silver era, depending on how you term it. People love Alice in Wonderland. They sell lots of merch for it. It has an attraction in every Disney park. Japan loves it the most, but I think it's really found its own footing.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And I like it. It's a good adaptation.
Sure.
I give it an A-.
Okay.
I still have adaptations of Alice I like more than this one.
Yeah.
Like, I like 72, I like the Royal Ballet, so it's not like my favorite one, but I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have ones that I like more than this one, but this one is definitely way up there.
And it is a special place in my heart. It started it for me. So it's if it wasn't for this one, I don't know if I would have tried Alice.
Does anyone have any final thoughts on Alice as a whole?
Alice as a whole.
Does anyone have any final thoughts on this version of Alice?
Yeah, it's like Alice as a whole, that's a big topic.
This version was more fun than I remembered.
That is something I want to say. I really enjoyed rewatching this. If you get tired of this version, take a break. Come back to it with new eyes. And I think,
Yeah.
I
We
think
can recommend a few for them to watch so that they can really come back with fresh eyes.
I think that really helped us, having just watched the 85 version and having to slog through that. And then coming to this one is just a breath of fresh air.
I do think people are too used to this version, so they don't realize how good it is.
Yeah.
Sure.
Go watch some of the crappy versions. Come back, be like, yeah, this is good.
They really put themselves into this.
Yes.
Yeah, and even though the animators were basically didn't have a leader, Walt was checked out. They did a good job, I think, and its influence on later Alice adaptations. I think it's had a good influence. Personally. So
on Alice lovers.
Yeah, again, purists will be like, nah, no, it didn't.
But the fun Alice lovers like this one.
The fact that it can introduce it to more generations instead of just dying back in the 1800s or the 1930s or whenever, pick a time period, the fact that it has continued on, probably a lot of that has to do with
the Disney.
Like, how many books wouldn't have been sold if kids hadn't seen this version?
Definitely.
How many people would know about it or care about it if it wasn't for Disney? I can't answer the question, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's had way more influence than we even realized. So,
yeah, I do believe eventually someone would have continued making an Alice until there was like a big one. But the way the world is right now, this is the way most people are introduced to the story. Let's be glad that it's a fun way to be introduced to the story. It's, instead of being bogged down and trying to be faithful to a text source, which is different, from watching it. It's reading is different than watching.
Yeah, and obviously the book is good, but
it's
if
good.
you're a child in this day and age, you're not gonna know your old Father William and all that stuff. It's
going to be very confusing.
Well, that, and while you're reading the book, you take breaks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
The movie you're supposed to watch in one go. Maybe take a break in the middle.
To give you a basic introduction to the creativity, the wackiness, and different characters so that you actually have that interest. So, yeah.
I think they did a good job in making it engaging, and it continues to engage people, and it continues to be timeless.
Definitely.
Well, thank you for all of your expertise. I figured I've been doing this long enough that I needed to be in on the Disney one. but yeah, you have brought a huge amount of information. It's
thank you for listening. I love talking about production history the most.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
I maybe now have to go home and Google the Japanese merch and
please
revisit Mary Blair because
never enough Mary Blair. You can never have enough Mary Blair in your life. The Mary Blair merch, it's beautiful.
Oh,
spend all your money. The 70th line was very inspired by the Mary Blair concept art.
Where do I find Mary Blair merch, or do I just Google Mary Blair?
Oh, you can just Google Mary Blair, I think.
Okay.
Well, I guess that probably is a good place to end for this one.
Yes.
Do you want to let people know where they can find you if they want more from you?
If you want to hide from all of them, it's okay, Jenna.
I already have a target on my back. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Phantom Wise, even though I never update it. And probably just find me around YouTube. I'm randomly on a bunch of videos, and I do search Alice things.
You had a blog, right?
I had a blog. I don't update it anymore, but it's still
But if people wanted to...
-me -Phantom Wise. wonderland.tumblr.com.
If people still wanted to find the archives and
Yeah, you can find if like any of my researches interest you, like that I mentioned, I documented a lot of it on that blog.
right.
Particularly about like the pedophilia rumors, if you're interested in that. I did address some of the conspiracy theories as well, not the cannibalism. I should have done that. I didn't.
Oh boy.
And I did go over some of the production history, but I discovered more since then. I really should start a new blog. But anyway, that's how you can find me.
Okay. Do you have anything to promote, Sarah?
I suppose what I did just 2 days ago is I'm a watercolor and pen and ink artist, and you can find my art on Redbubble and on Society6 under the name of Turnip Wilson. Turnip as in the vegetable, Wilson kind of like the neighbor from Home Improvement.
I was thinking of the psychic doctor from House.
Okay.
Right? His name's Wilson, isn't it?
I've never seen House.
I've only seen. Are you talking about like the Doctor show?
Yeah, the Doctor House.
I've only seen some of that, so I wasn't up on the psychic. But hey, if you want to associate me with that might not be bad. I don't know.
He's a neat character, I guess.
Okay, then you can think of me that way if you want to.
Okay, well, I guess that's going to be all for this episode. Until next time.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me. We definitely had a great conversation.
We covered a lot.
Thanks for listening to Wonderland Wednesday. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow my co-hosts as well. My Linktree and all of our links will be in the description below. If you want more of my content, all my podcasts are available on YouTube as well as most podcast platforms. If you enjoyed this show, check out one of the other podcasts or check out my Patreon for bonus and extended episodes you won't find anywhere else. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening and we'll see you next time.
Pass through the looking glass into Wonderland.